Once again, it's time for our Feature Games watch party live from LakePoint Sports. I'm Cory McCartney coming to you from the Baseball Village, where the top uncommitted players in the United States and Canada, hundreds of college coaches and scouts, everyone have gathered for a date that absolutely has to be circled on everyone's calendar. We've got a slate of games today that's going to include Pacific Northwest against Utah, Midwest versus Minnesota, and New Jersey versus New York. And along the way, I will be joined by a number of prep baseball scouting directors, players, guests, and more. So a big day for us. Then tomorrow during the 12:30 window, we'll have Texas and Georgia, Wisconsin, Kansas, and New York, Massachusetts. And we will wrap things up on Sunday with the Junior Feature Games Platinum Championship. That's scheduled for a 3:15 start. This obviously a big opportunity for all these players here in front of this collection of college coaches. So let's get an in-depth look at the Feature Games with this fantastic trailer put together by the Prep Baseball media team. Feature Games, a massive opportunity for these uncommitted players to get in front of Division I coaches and more. And this is a special version of it as we've added the Senior Feature Games along with the existing Junior Feature Games division. So what's it like for a player on their way to LakePoint Sports to play in this event? I checked in with Andrew Mahoney, who's been suiting up this week for Michigan. We continue on the road to the Feature Games presented by Publix. Cory McCartney joined by Prep Baseball Alabama's Austin Sharp and Evan Malone The second-ranked right-hander in Alabama in 2026 out of Northridge will be making the trip to LakePoint Sports July 24th to 28th. Take me inside the arsenal and what landed him a spot on Team Alabama.
Yeah, he's a big. I mean, you think about the jump that he's made over the last year. He's put on some really good weight. I think he's probably 6'2", over 200 pounds now. And then with the arsenal, he's been up to 92, I think, at Lake Point this summer. Pitches upper 80s, can run it up to the low 90s, and has a good slider. It's a long, loose arm. He's been a guy who's been on our radar for the past few years. Trying to see, looking down the road who's going to be on our future games team. And Evan's been one of those guys towards the top in terms of our pitchers, and he's just continued to get better. He had a good spring this year for Northridge. They had a really good season, and he was a big part of it. And he's just continued to take step after step. He's put on good weight and working up to 92 with a really good slider. There's a lot of good pieces that we think college coaches will like.
Yeah, that's an underrated part of it, right? You guys are trying to provide an opportunity. You guys are trying to put the best team that you can out there. We all know this is ultimately about putting these kids in front of these college coaches. What does it mean to you guys to kind of watch what unfolds after the feature games and to see these guys find spots at the next level?
It's awesome. I mean, that's probably one of the favorite parts of our job is, after August 1st, and you get those, texts from college coaches. Can you get me this guy's number? And then, 2 or 3 days later, some of those guys are committed, and it's kind of like Christmas and August, kind of seeing who goes off the board quickly and where they end up. So it's definitely a really cool part to see.
Well, before Christmas in August, we got Christmas in July for these players and a big opportunity for Evan Malone. Great stuff, Austin. Now let's hear from Evan. And repping Alabama in the future games is going to be Evan Malone. Evan, man, appreciate the time.
Thank you. Good to be on here.
So you're here a lot playing for Excel Blue Wave at LakePoint Sports.
Yes,
going to be decidedly different when you're here for the future games. What's the excitement level and what are the expectations?
It's just a great opportunity to be coming out here and just able to show my stuff. I always hear about all these people that come through here that end up being committed to big D1 programs, and just something I want to be able to be a part of and hopefully go out there and do my best.
A lot of the scouting reports and you talk about controlled mechanics, and this is going to be an environment where you can only control what you can control. How do you kind of plan on staying within yourself when you go out in that environment?
Just always trying to slow myself down, not trying to do too much, just going out there and being myself, trusting the process and knowing that what I've done to get here has worked out great for me, and just knowing that that'll be what keeps me in line.
Let's talk about the stuff a little bit. Got the fastball into the 90s, got the slider, change up, the curves at 2200 spin. What do you feel like is the best secondary pitch, and what are you working on now?
My changeup is the pitch that I think has the most upside. I've still got to really hone in and get to where I'm able to consistently throw it for strikes, but right now curveball has been my best pitch throughout the recent, but I feel like if I can get the changeup dialed in, it's got the most liveliness and good. I think it's my best pitch when it's on, so that's basically going to be what I need to figure out.
Tell me about the curveball a little bit. When do you know that thing is 100% on?
Just when I'm landing it in the zone early in counts, able to throw it whenever I feel that somebody's sitting on fastball, and just that's about it.
Tell me a little bit about influences along the way. When you were coming up as a pitcher, who were those guys that you kind of looked at, that you kind of tried to take pieces of and put into your own game?
I always liked Jacob deGrom. Growing up, I always tried to imitate him and his mechanics, and just how he, I really like the way he always shows himself out on the mound and the way he just competes. And that's someone that I watched growing up, along with always liked growing up watching Noah Syndergaard because of the hair. I used to have the hair like that, but not anymore. Can't pull it off anymore, but I like the Mets. I'm a big Mets fan.
You also get third base, outfield. I know you got exit velos into the 90s there. Any two-way thoughts at the next level?
Not as of right now. I think I'm more suited as a pitcher, but you never know. I mean, it's always good to just continue doing whatever you want, and never know. Maybe so.
All right, I want to see you take us through what you do in the mound. So let's get that ball in your hand and have it show us your grips.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. So I got the four-seam fastball, just traditional, just close fingers, just try and let it backspin, get that spin on it. Curveball is just traditional, normal curveball, just feel it, spin it over the top. I throw a slider it's kind of in between a slider and a cutter, but I play with it. It's kind of just like in that horseshoe right there, and just feel it kind of like a fastball to the last second, get that tilt on it, get it as much like a fastball as I can, and then change up. I just throw four-seam change up, right? Same thing as a fastball, just about, but just on that groove, and try and get that pointer finger right on that seam, and just let it work off that. That's about it.
Evan, man, great stuff. Appreciate it. If you're not already, make sure you follow LakePoint Sports on all our social media channels. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and you get so much more happening here on campus. Along with Alabama, they were 8-7 winners over Mississippi on Thursday. Today, they beat Arkansas 8-6, and they will wrap things up with a matchup against Louisiana on Saturday. We've had Anna Bellinghausen has been making her rounds around campus, and she got to check in with Deion Cole, the #1 ranked outfielder in Georgia and #6 in the nation. Let's check out their interview.
Alongside Deion Cole at the Prep Baseball Future Games, what does it mean to be here with all this talent?
Yeah, it's going to be a great experience. I'm excited to be able to represent Georgia and myself to all the coaches and everyone out here and just, showcase my talent.
Yeah, what do you hope to showcase most throughout this event?
Probably my hit tool, my speed, being an outfielder, got to have some speed with yourself. But then also I think my hit tool and my hitting at the plate is one of the best in the class, honestly, if you're asking me. So just my hit tool and speed.
Throughout your journey in high school, where do you feel like you've developed most? What are you working on?
Probably, growing as a player in the game, mindset, know what I'm doing, IQ, just being around a ton of older guys, always learning things, they're teaching me stuff, so just growing as a player.
Speaking of mindset, how do you keep that calm, cool, and collected at events like this when there's so many eyes on you between scouts and coaches?
I just got to think of it like another event, just playing my game, nothing special, just, if I play my game, it's going to get recognized, so not doing too much.
How unique is this event just in general with all the talent that's here, bringing it to LakePoint so everyone can see it on one scale?
It's awesome. We have a lot of uncommitted talent, which is nice, so everyone gets to showcase their skills and hopefully good skills in front of all the coaches and everyone here.
Lastly, what are you looking forward to most at LakePoint?
I live around here, so I'm pretty blessed to have it on a daily, but just the atmosphere, it's awesome out here.
Well, thanks so much for the time and best of luck.
Thank you.
And like always, our stage is one primed for big-time performances. But if you've been paying attention, that's not all we've been looking for this summer at LakePoint Sports. We have teamed up with Johnsonville in their push to keep the internet juicy. So let's go inside that mission to bring the positive back to the internet. And everyone is encouraged to share these positive actions, good sportsmanship, and selfless acts associated with all the youth sports that we love. So whether you're the one who spotted the activity, the one performing the act, or the recipient of the good deed, there is something in it for everyone. And Johnsonville might just reward you for your behavior and or participation. So use that QR code on screen. For more information on how you can make a submission, or head on over to LakePointSports.com or our social media channels to access the submission form. Let's go ahead and take a look as we roll along with our Prep Baseball Future Games watch party and check out the action that we'll have for you across campus today. Got Pacific Northwest against Utah, Midwest, Minnesota, and New Jersey, New York in action. Let's wait for our camera to cut to the main feed, and here we go. Now joined by Rob Allison. Rob, the regional supervisor, the Upper Midwest regional supervisor overseeing Iowa, Minnesota, and Nebraska. I know an ardent task for you to fill all these crews to come here. You got Team Midwest and Minnesota that you're obviously a part of. Going at it today, what's this? How do you do you pick favorites? Like, how do you kind of approach this when they're doing at it like this?
No, we were joking about it yesterday. I think I'm gonna have to sit right behind home plate, make sure I have 50% going in one direction, 50
There you
in
go.
the other. Don't want to be biased to one or the other, and it'll be exciting to watch those teams face off against each other.
Coming off of a year in which Danny Wallace was most valuable player out of Nebraska a year ago. So Danny rides that wave into now knowing that he's going to be going to Miami as a prep baseball All-American. What's that like for you to watch a guy get on the national radar at the feature games and now ride that in All-American status?
I mean, it's so awesome. The kids from my states have really taken advantage of the opportunity to come down here and participate in this. I think in the history of the event, I think we've had 7 MVPs, either from Nebraska, Iowa, or Minnesota, and it's so awesome for them to come down here, show everybody what they can do, at what level they're at, create opportunities for themselves, and I think what they get most excited about is in the upper Midwest, in my territory, there's only 7 Division I schools that sponsor baseball. You know, a 5-state radius, 7 schools only. So for them to come down here, I mean, getting out of the car, they're going to walk past 7 Division I's.
That's
Much
right.
less get out on the field and play in front of everybody. It's super awesome for them.
You mentioned the number of MVPs. So in 2021, you guys had Camden Koziel out of Nebraska, and then 2020 you had Gable Mitchell out of Iowa, and in 2019 Sam Peterson out of Iowa. 2018 was Aaron Downs out of Iowa. Then you had Mac Horvath from Worcester Century High School in Minnesota in 2017. 2015 Sam Carlson from Minnesota. Just goes on and on and on. I mean, you guys have, as you mentioned, have absolutely taken advantage of this opportunity. So let's dive a little bit into the rosters that you did bring with you this time and some really interesting players. Let's start off with who we're going to see on the mound today for Team Midwest. And maybe the best name that we're going to see out of any of these crews, Cordell Clickingbeard. Man, absolutely brings some heat on the mound. We've got him with a pop time as a catcher. You think about 191, catcher velo around 82. What are you going to see out of him on the mound?
Cordell's he's gonna throw strikes. You know, that's a good thing about him. I think you find that a lot with those two-way positions / pitchers. Their ability to play catch with the glove is at times maybe a little higher than someone who is maybe designated themselves at this age as a pitcher only. He's going to be upper 80s, might get into 90, 91 range, throw strikes. Athletic kid, really competitive. So we expect good things.
Being yourself and a former All-Region and All-American catcher at Westmar University, when you're scouting a catcher, what are those things, those traits that maybe you look for that you feel like maybe somebody who's not so tied into the position might be eyeing?
You know, especially with catching, it needs to be a high-energy position. You're directing traffic. You really are the quarterback on the field and moving everybody around. It's a taxing position physically, obviously, but the higher the energy, the higher just moving around the field, getting people to where they need to be. Like that's the leadership part of it's probably the biggest thing.
Going to go from Clickingbeard to Colin Driffel and then Colton Romrick, who I think is really interesting. Our 4th-ranked righty in Iowa, number 10 overall. Got a fastball right around 82. We always talk about that adrenaline push that a guy's going to get here. Feature games, 90s, I think are on a lot of guys' radars when they hop on the mound here. What's your kind of assessment of Colton going into this, and what do you expect to see from him?
Yeah, Colton, you know, just long-bodied kid, really athletic. We selected him to come here, not just based on his pitching ability, but also for him as a position player. So when you can play at a high enough level that you get invited to the future games, not only as a pitcher, but as a position player and a batter as well, I think that speaks volumes for him. He'll get in 87, 88 range, pretty good breaking ball. Again, strike thrower, you know, plays a lot of third base. If he can move his feet and play catch at 130 feet across the infield, 60 feet 6 inches becomes a little easier
Yeah.
at times. Yeah.
Yeah, we got him with an exit velo around 96, bat speed around 76. So I keep talking to guys. I love the bat speed metric because I think the fact that the major leagues have adopted on their StatCast, guys can kind of assess where, obviously there's a difference between a guy who does it consistently across a major league season and somebody who does it, in a showcase environment. But how have you kind of taken that tool and added it and when you're able to kind of look at what they're doing with it at the major league level?
I think the combination with all the data that we're accruing right now, your eyes are going to tell you a little bit of what's going on in front of you, but I think the data is a great way of reinforcing that. And sometimes your eyes will fool you. Like sometimes you'll miss stuff, or you just don't process it the way it actually is. And so I think bat speed is big. The baseball is becoming a game of bigger, faster, stronger, even more than what it was in the past. And you got to have you definitely have to have the tools to be able to keep up with the speed of the game, and so that it all matters quite a bit.
We flip over to Minnesota and look at who they're going to be throwing on the mound today. Owen Stray, Danny Scheller, Ryan Hesling. How do you even say this guy's last name? H.J. Iellming. That's a Minnesota name if I've ever seen one. And then you got Sullivan Conlon and Joe Ackerman. Danny Scheller, I think really interesting. #1 ranked outfielder in Minnesota. We've got the fastball around 87, changed curveball and slider. He was here in 2022 junior feature games. What do you kind of look at for a guy when you watch them progress from the junior ranks? You guys almost put it's almost like buying a stock, right? Like you guys kind of put your stock in these younger guys. You watch them get back here 2 years later. What's that like for you?
Yeah. I mean, he's really gritty. He is the ultimate competitor out on the field. I mean this in a positive way. Like he really is just looking to like tear people's heads off. He's an all-state football player, even as a sophomore in high school.
Wow.
He just likes to knock heads. He likes to get after it. He's super aggressive. And I think the cool thing is, because a lot of things change. Like, obviously, we select who we feel like are the best 8th graders to come to the junior future games at that time. But things change. Like, there's some guys stay the same. You hope some guys maybe take a step backwards here and there. But other guys continue to grow and develop. And because of players on the junior future games doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be here as a sophomore in the future games, because the competition for those spots just continues to ratchet up. But for him to stay the course and continue to do what he does and play at the level that he plays at, he's a great kid. He's a great competitor, and we're really happy he's back here.
Yeah, there's some really interesting names on this Minnesota roster when you look at you guys brought. Noah Asuma ends up hitting a home run yesterday, the first-ranked shortstop in Minnesota, 6th-ranked overall. Hit 60 times around 6.69 exit velos, right around 100 bat speed, getting upwards of almost 80 for him. Tell me about the player and why you guys felt like this was a great spot for him.
Really, really interesting kid. He's from northern Minnesota, way up in the sticks, Everyone thinks baseball is just in the Twin Cities. A lot of it is, but there's players here, there, and everywhere, and that's obviously the fun part of the job.
Yep.
Is finding guys out in the weeds. But comes from a northern part of the state, super athletic family. He actually has an older brother that's going to the University of Minnesota to play basketball. I believe his older brother was like a 4-star basketball recruit. And the funny thing is, there's multiple siblings in the family. They're all freaks of nature when it comes to sports. They play everything. They're standouts in whatever ball you get in their hands. And the crazy thing for him is, even if you go back and watch the video or you watch him play, everything he does is really easy. It's not lackadaisical. It's not sluggish. He can just move around the field and do things that a lot of guys have to put a lot of effort into replicating what he can accomplish.
Ryan Christensen, the #1 player in Minnesota in 2026. 90 mile an hour on the fastball. He was another guy who was here a couple years ago. Also gets it done in the field. Exit velos around 95.7, 6'4", 210 pounds. the program that ultimately gets the commitment from him, what kind of player are they going to get?
Really focused kid, wants to continue to get better. He's going to put in the time. He's going to put in the effort. Definitely mature, great work ethic. I mean, he just, from the tools to the body to the development to the projection, I mean, he just checks a lot of boxes.
Iowa has the kind of wrinkle, you and I have talked about this before, of their high school season going so late into the summertime. How do you kind of balance that with trying to find guys to get down here, you know, and because obviously you're covering a lot of ground regardless, but how do you piece the Iowa guys together that come here?
I would like to say there's a method to the madness, that we figured out some sort of scientific formula. We haven't up to this point. Yeah, right now the Iowa State tournament, actually, the state championship games are today.
Oh, wow.
On Friday, yeah. The latest, one of our, Gavin DeJesus, he actually rolled in here. I think I want to say we played at 8:30 last night. He got to the park at about 7:15 last night.
Jeez.
His team lost out in the quarterfinals of the state tournament. They immediately went to the airport, jumped on. But, you know, I think that speaks volumes about the future games in general. It's such a huge, impactful event for these guys. And their level of commitment, I mean, legitimately play a game, jump a flight, get to Atlanta, grab your luggage, drive through Atlanta traffic, get to LakePoint, hit the ground running, put a bat in his hands, let's compete. Like, yeah, I mean, that just speaks for the upper Midwest kids and what they're willing and wanting to do and the effort that they're willing and wanting to put into everything.
We talk with the Georgia guys down here, and some of them have played, you know, north of almost 100 games when you figure what they've done across the high school season, the travel season. Obviously, you know, in a cold weather state, the guys don't necessarily have those opportunities. But do you see when they get to this point of the season where some of these guys may have, you know, a lot of innings on these arms? Do you kind of see like maybe your guys are a little more fresh when they go into this situation?
Give or take. I mean, I think you kind of look at some of this like city miles versus highway miles. And the kids in the upper Midwest, they don't have as many miles, but I think because their seasons are so condensed, it's like revving up the engine. You rev up the engine and you go hard for 2 or 3 months because that's your season. And then you get shut down. And then you have this big gap, and then when you get to the season again, and it's like rev it up, hard, stop, go, Where I do think the advantage, or what you look at, is the Southern kids, it's more like highway miles. Like, yes, they're traveling farther, but it's at more of a steady pace to where they're maybe a little better condition. They're used to doing it every day. So I think they have some advantages that way.
You said obviously these kids get down here and there's only, you know, a handful of schools that they're going to see back home. I asked this of all the state directors, the guys that they feel like, we've got guys who are, you know, popping at the national level. We've got guys who are, you know, making some noise within our state. Are there a handful of guys that you can kind of pinpoint from either side that you feel like, I think this is a name that people don't know yet, but maybe they will when this thing's all said and done?
Well, you stole my thunder earlier because I think Asuma is one of those guys. He's been out on the circuit a little bit, but definitely more Midwest-centric.
Okay.
So for these ACC, SEC, anybody out in the now debunked Pac-10, West Coast, they probably have no idea who Noah Asuma is. But I definitely, after his workout day and after last night, a lot of people know who Noah Asuma is.
So Gavin DeJesus, I mean, you mentioned him getting here so late. I mean, this is a guy that runs a 6.5 60. He's got exit velos a 93, bat speed of almost 80. I mean, that's a guy that you feel like if he had an opportunity in the workout environment, those numbers may have absolutely popped for him.
Yeah. You know, the nice thing about the prep baseball profile is those numbers are living and breathing and so accessible, and coaches can see them. So he does at least have that foundation, you know, because he is dynamic on the field. He is a game changer, and not just he changes the game with his speed. Even last night, I think he beat out a routine ground ball to third base, beats it out. And, I mean, it's a routine play.
Yeah.
And, you know, when the play finishes and he beats it out, the third baseman who did everything right is just kind of staring like, what just happened? Like, how did that guy get from A to B that quick? And then later in the game, he sticks his barrel out, hits a 3-hop ground ball to the first baseman. First baseman knocks it down, but it's a simple pick up the ball, step on the bag, throw it around the horn, and Gavin beats it out. And again, like, people are just kind of like awestruck, like, holy cow, like, this kid can really get down the line. And just simple as that. It wasn't like huge fireworks or anything gaudy or a 450-foot home run, but it's those simple things is what coaches are looking for. Like, they're looking for guys that are going to impact the game. And he's going to impact it with his speed, with his arm, his fielding ability. He has a good bat. I think the workout would have helped him, but at the same time, I think the way he performs on the field in so many different facets, he's definitely going to still gain a lot of attention.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk about how does it translate to a game, and some of these guys are more, hey, my skill set shows off better in a game anyway. For him to be able to show that speed within that environment, I mean, that's going to go a long way. We're still waiting for Minnesota and Midwest to get started. New York and New Jersey as well. Pacific Northwest and Utah underway. They're in the bottom of the first inning here with Rob Allison, Prep Baseball, Iowa, Minnesota, and Nebraska. Some traffic on the bases there up in Pacific Northwest and Utah. Rob, you've been here for years. We redid the fields this past winter at LakePoint Sports, a real ardent process. They took everything down to the concrete. Started in December, got it ready for mid-February when we had a big high school tournament here at LakePoint Sports. What was the reaction when you saw the new fields for the first time?
I mean, there's not a complex in the country that's as nice as LakePoint, and they continue to put money in the facility. They continue to upgrade everything. I like the new turf more. I think it plays faster. Sometimes turf fields can get a little sluggish or dead a lot of balls, but I think it plays faster, which creates more action, with guys running around the bases, people moving around the field. So I really like the way it plays, but LakePoint's always been great. Matt Yarber is such a unbelievable host for us, and communicating and setting all this up from all the organization, and there isn't any other place I would want to be.
8 years as a recruiting coordinator at Iowa Western. So I ask you that because now we have the senior feature games, and you think about guys who are getting that opportunity that maybe wouldn't have before to get themselves, whether they were a late bloomer, maybe they were somebody who they felt were overlooked through the recruiting process. What was it like for you to kind of be a part of giving a new opportunity to some guys?
Yeah, it's really impactful, especially for my guys, because we do have that. We do have late bloomers. I try not to get angry about it, but I mean, I have a lot of conversations with Southern coaches, and a late bloomer in the upper Midwest will pop up and they call me and they have questions and they're interested, but they almost come into it with red flags, like, why is he still uncommitted? Like, how he's 6'6", he's 220 pounds and throwing 93. What's wrong with him? Like, and for a lot of kids, there's nothing wrong with them. It's the fact they gained 30 pounds over a year, or they jumped 5 miles an hour. Like, I think Southern coaches at times can get a little jaded because, kind of like what we were talking about before, the kids down here play so much baseball that they develop sooner. And not that they don't continue to develop, but I think they develop sooner, to where the upper Midwest kids, because of multi-sports, the weather, just all the different moving parts, and then when they do pop and they do get better, but the Southern schools at times can be a little jaded. They think, what's wrong? What's wrong? What are we missing? What's behind the scenes? And the simple fact is they're upper Midwest kids. They actually do continue to get better, and most of them continue to get better in college as well.
Well, Rob, great stuff. Listen, I'm going to let you get out of here to go. Don't pick sides. You love each of your kids equally, so go in there and set dead center middle behind home plate and watch Minnesota and Midwest go at it. We're going to take a quick break here in studio, but Rob, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks, Cory.
one I picked up, I just liked it the best. And like I said, I tried a lot of different companies, a lot of different models, and I fell in love with Old Hickory for sure.
Hey, Cory McCartney back here in our future games watch party, waiting on our next guy coming out of the bullpen for the prep baseball crew. But in the meantime, Anna Bellinghausen had a chance to catch up with, just had Rob Allison in here from Team Midwest. So let's hear from Bryce Paulie, who's suiting up for Team Midwest over these few days.
Alongside Bryce Paulie with Team Midwest, what does it mean to be here at the prep baseball future games?
I'm super excited. I mean, I've been looking forward to this event for the last year now, and I just can't wait to showcase my ability.
Yeah, Bryce, what do you hope to showcase most to college coaches and scouts?
Just like my 5-tool ability. I mean, I'm a pretty quick runner. I got a strong arm, and I can hit for power and average.
With all these faces here between colleges and scouts, how do you maintain your mindset, just stay positive and try to push out any pressure?
Just keeping calm and taking a lot of deep breaths. I mean, I've worked so hard to be here, and I think now is my time to just showcase my ability and let it loose and just try to have fun up here.
Heading into your junior season, where do you feel like you've grown the most baseball-wise?
Definitely mentally. A lot of people have started to pitch around me and kind of like started to notice my ability. So staying strong mentally and just keeping like a good, calm headspace has really helped me a lot.
What's your biggest goal for this upcoming season?
Commit to a D1 school, of course.
What are you looking for in D1 programs? If you were to pick the ideal situation, what do you hope to enter into?
Somewhere where I can develop a good coaching staff as well as a good environment, and just somewhere that I can grow and flourish really well.
Well, Bryce, last one. What are you looking forward to most here at LakePoint?
Having fun, showcasing my ability, playing with the best guys in the country. I mean, I'm just excited to be here.
Bryce, thanks so much for the time and best of luck.
No problem. Thank you, too.
Welcome back to LakePoint Sports. This is our future games watch party. Great stuff from Anna Bellinghausen, who we had all over campus for a few days. I'm going to take a quick break, and we're going to be joined soon by Jeff Scholzen from Prep Baseball Utah. Going to be able to go inside this crew as they are taking on Pacific Northwest. They're in the bottom of the second inning. Meanwhile, you see the home plate visit there from New York and New Jersey. They're getting rolling. We're still in batting practice in Minnesota and Midwest. The game behind them, in front of them, ran a little bit long, so things are slightly delayed on field 11. Field 9 in the upper left-hand corner, just getting ready to get started. And again, we are in the bottom of the second inning here in Pacific Northwest and Utah. So be excited to hear from Jeff when he comes in here to break down this roster. But take a little bit of a aside here in the studio, and we'll join you as soon as Jeff is able to step here and take his spot alongside me. State Director Jeff Scholzen. Jeff, man, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's hot out here.
Oh, it's humid. It's terrible.
I was talking to Dan Jurek in Pacific Northwest about the conversations you have with the kids about the weather. Tell me about how you guys kind of address this, because as you can attest right now, it's steamy here in Georgia.
Yeah, it's back west, in the desert southwest of Utah and Arizona, Nevada. It's that dry heat, so it can be 110 and you're hot. But this is a different animal. It's a lot hotter here.
So your crew's taking on Pacific Northwest right now. Yesterday they were 10-7 winners over Colorado. 3-run home run out of Cash Polson. Also had Ricardo Navarro with a double. Tell me about Cash Polson. This is a name that I think after that shot yesterday, if people didn't already have the guy who's the #1 catcher in Utah at #2 overall in the class circled, they probably do now.
Yeah, Cash is he was a junior Future Games kid in 21 for Mike Anderson and the Colorado bunch 3 years ago. And he was going to be here last year, but he had a freak injury with a broken elbow in an accident at a friend's house right before the Future Games. So this would have been his 3rd year, in the last 4 years out here. But he can really catch and throw. He's plays for Powerhouse American Fork High School in Utah that churns out Division I player after another. But yeah, he's a name that a lot of guys ask about, and he does a good job of marketing himself and putting him on social media. And he's a name that everybody on the West knows. He gets invited to a lot of top prospect, college camps. And but yeah, he's a premium upside, lean, athletic catcher that has a high ceiling.
So I'm a good host, so I'm going to take this fan
awesome.
that I've got, this handy-dandy fan, and we're going to put that right on you. It's air conditioned in here, but we got to help you out. So yeah. Ryder Huntsman started things off on the mound for you guys, going to Cayman Sanchez after that. Caleb Weaver, tell me a little bit about the arms that we're going to be seeing for Utah today.
Ryder Huntsman's the #1, 2027. He's in that 87 to 89 range. Pleasant Grove High School. It's in that Provo-Orem area, metropolitan area. His dad, Brandon Huntsman, was a 6th-round pick, signed with the Orioles out of high school 30 years ago. But high upside arm, one of those kids you can realistically see in the next 3 or 4 years, being in the low to mid-90s, but highly projectable. And then you've got Caleb Weaver, 2-way kid. He led the state of Utah with 10 wins on the mound, third baseman, right-hand pitcher. That he's right there in that 86, 89, range, can spin a curveball, and he's athletic. And it remains to be seen which way he goes at the college level. But right now he shows a lot of upside at both. And then Cayman Sanchez, another 2-way kid. He's right now in the mid-80s. He's that typical unicorn right-hand pitcher, shortstop, middle of the diamond, can do it all. And yeah, he goes to Olympus High School in the Salt Lake City area, and he was a first-team All-Stater as a sophomore.
I want to ask you something philosophically when you put this team together, because start looking through the top, some of the the key guys as you guys bring. Austin Brown, #1 player in Utah in 2028, and then you've got Ty Homestead, the #8 player in 2028, that are playing with these guys. How did you kind of balance that when you take? Because obviously the coaches largely are here to see 26s. The 27 can feel like forbidden fruit. The 28's got to be like, man, what are you doing to me?
Yeah, it's for a smaller state, I kind of look at it like, if you feel like you have that group where you can put 16 to 20 guys together in that 26 group that's going to really, stand out, you want to do that. But, if you have 12, 13 kids in that rising junior group that you feel really good about, but maybe you're undecided about some other positions, and you can dive down into those 2 lower groups, go after some of those top kids there that maybe even have more upside than maybe a 26. That'll balance out the team and make it even as strong or better. That's kind of how I, went about doing it, and grabbing 2 or 3 kids in that young group that, over the course of 2-3 years in a row, being at LakePoint, are going to be household names by then.
Yeah, Austin Brown, exit velo is 99, a bat speed of 73.6, a 6'1" lefty at that age. Seems like a special talent.
Yeah, he's one of those kids. He goes to the different national home run derbies and, hits these 475, 480-foot home runs with the drop 10s. And, he's on YouTube and Twitter and the whole thing. But, yeah, he hangs with the big boys. We had him in our Rising Stars ID a year ago, and then from that point I was like, we just need to push him up with all the upper class events and test him, and he's always been in all the leaderboards with all the big boys.
Kai Chrisman, if you were to kind of go into MLB The Show and create a first baseman, and you came out with a guy who was 6'4", 218 pounds, and then he gets up there pushing exit velos at 106 with a bat speed at 88 miles an hour, those seem like video game numbers.
Yeah, Cy's dad was a 4-year D1 guy at Utah back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and Cy is, when I was a minor league coach, along with being a scout with the Angels years ago, I had Mark Trumbo in 2007 in Orem in the Pioneer League, and he reminds me prototype Mark Trumbo type guy. The bat is elite. You know, it's 106 with wood at our Pro Case West, and he's at 105 the other day, and I was like, I thought TrackMan was broke a little bit, because I was like, that looked a lot higher than 106 that we were seeing at Pepperdine with wood. But yeah, he puts on an absolute show and can hit the ball 9 miles, and he's not just a power guy, he's a hitter with big power. And I mean, me personally, I know all the college coaches, you know, are going to be coming after this kid, but so is the major league scouts. And I think if you had to handpick, you know, a hitter at this event that you say could not, you know, possibly be a high draft pick, that he would be one of those guys.
Yeah, you guys have brought a number of guys who have been here before. Mason Henry, in particular, 6'8", 215-pound righty and first baseman. Again, we talk about, you know, guys with those big numbers. Fastball that's going to get right around 90 miles an hour, along with exit velos, almost to triple digits. That's a nice combo.
Yeah, he's a, you know, 6'8", 215, and he's coached Darren Henry. One of my coaches on staff is his son, and his big brother, Peyton Henry, is the big league catcher. Has been with the Brewers, Blue Jays, and Marlins. And I signed Peyton Henry 8 years ago with the Brewers, and so we're really close family friends. And I remember when Mason was 7 years old, I won't say the words that he used, but it was pretty hilarious. He was sitting on the banister in the outside the living room, and I was doing my in-home visit with Peyton. And he leaned over to his sister, and let's just say he said how pretty cool this was, that a big league scout was in the house. And so we always greet each other with that word when we see each other all the time, that I heard. And it was just pretty cool. He's one of those kids, yeah, you realistically could see this kid being a 95, 96, 97 mile an hour kid, you know, 4 or 5 years from now. Wouldn't surprise me. You know, he just been in, you know, bloodline family that, you know, has a big brother, has a dad, has all that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool, pretty cool.
Scouting supervisor for the Brewers. Before that, worked with the Angels. The Angels scout team had the likes of Chris Bryant, Kevin Gausman. I covered the Braves for 13 years. Aaron Blair was a name that I knew all too well. It had to be really cool for you to see so many of those guys pop.
Yeah, we had Tyler Wagner and Taylor Cole and Aaron Blair, and like I said, Gausman. It was a big league rotation at the high school level, and, you know, 12 future major league players in a 4-year run. Most of these kids were 15 to 17 years old. You know, they weren't the typical rising senior scout team. I just took the best 20-plus kids in my territory, regardless of age, and if they could hang with the big boys, they did. And it was pretty cool. You know, one of the cooler stories was Chris Bryant was hitting at a game at UNLV, and we were playing the national champs, Central Arizona. He hits a ball halfway up the light pole, and John Wente, the head coach of Central Arizona, looks over and says, "Where's that kid going to school?" And I said, "He's got 2 more years at Bonanza High School." So, yeah, special time.
So your guys now leading 4-0 over Pacific Northwest. I'm going to have to check out the box score here, because I have no idea how we saw your guys jump to that big of a lead in this one.
Yeah.
We just got a little bit too carried away in our conversations here, because the New Jersey and New York game's getting started. So
well,
is
maybe that's
Minnesota.
good if I'm not paying attention, then they're scoring runs. Because I told them when I left the dugout, I said, score 5 runs by the time I get back.
Well, they're 1 away as we dial things up, and they're going to have double. They had 2 runs drove in by Bodie Guerrero. Yep, so they got 2 via him, another from Ricardo Navarro.
There we go.
So there's where and also had Garrett Downing with an RBI as well. So last 3 guys in the order come through with all 4 RBIs. Ryder Huntsman, meanwhile, 2 innings pitched with 1 strikeout. Looks like Pacific Northwest still waiting on their first hit in this one. Dan Jerk told me there's a little bit of some friendly rivalry between you guys as you go into this. So do you guys put anything, is there anything at stake when you guys, and maybe it is a stake when you guys are matching up like this?
Well, probably not. I would say maybe me a little bit. I mean, just jokingly. I mean, I played my college baseball at Eastern Oregon University 30 years ago, and loved the Northwest, and, you know, spent a lot of time up there doing pro coverage as a scout. But, you know, anybody on the West, you know, you have a friendly rivalry, I'd say, because we're all friends. And we want to put our best foot forward.
I leave this question on the table for every state director, everybody who has their job in picking these crews that they bring down here to LakePoint Sports. But we've talked about a number of these players. Do you feel like there's one or two that maybe are not at that national radar level yet, that by the time this thing's over with, these are names that are going to pop on everybody's list?
Yeah, I think the one has to be Ricardo Navarro. He, he had an RBI or two-run double yesterday. Did it again today. He's a kid who's from Sonora, Mexico, whose guardian and host family that he lives with in central Utah. They were big outdoorsmen, professional outfitter, hunting guides, and had a friendship with a family down in Sonora on a big hunt. And he's a bilingual kid that wanted to come to the States and play college baseball. And I don't think he necessarily, when he got excited about coming to Utah, which is pretty scenic in itself, I don't think he knew he was coming near Bryce Canyon National Park to a town of about 500 people playing 1A fall baseball.
Wow.
So he doesn't play high school baseball in the spring, so he'll be seen here at LakePoint and then have to watch him as he plays for his CBA summer group. That's how he'll have to get scouted, but he doesn't get pitched to. Had 15 intentional walks in 15, 16 games.
How do you gauge and judge and place a kid like that then? Because he's the #1 ranked shortstop in Utah, 3rd overall, a kid who just doesn't get that much playing time.
Well, I think I think from my scouting background, it's the forecasting, it's the crystal ball and seeing him in a showcase. You see 10 swings, you see 5 ground balls, you see how the athletic movement patterns and how the body works, and you just have that sense of this guy's a player. And regardless of what level he's playing at in high school, it's more important what's he doing during the summer and fall, and is he facing velocity, tough competition, and he is, and he's just had a dominant summer playing out west, and now over the last 2-3 days I've had quite a few texts from schools that says they're on Ricardo Navarro now.
Awesome. Well, and that's what this is all about, right? Is providing that platform and those opportunities for those players to get out there, get in front of those coaches, and write their baseball futures. Jeff, great stuff, man. I got Sean Duncan's. He's going to kick you out of here, so the fan's going to be taken away from you. But
he pays my paycheck, so I'll do it.
Awesome. We're going to take a quick break here in studio. We'll be back with Sean Duncan. Jeff, thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it, man.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cory.
Where's it written? Only grill burgers? Nowhere. That's where. Now throw on some sausage and keep it juicy.
Boogie, woogie, jam, slam, bust the dialect. I'm the man in command. Come, flow with the sounds of the mighty mic.
Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one,
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete in all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf. Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
Welcome back to LakePoint Sports and our watch party here for the 2024 Prep Baseball Feature Games. Sean Duncan has rejoined the party. This is your show. We're all here just to we're all. You're the main character. So you know how everybody on everybody on social media, they say thought he was the main character. You are the main character.
Oh, well, flattery will get you everywhere. But honestly, I thought that there was zero chance I was going to be invited back after my performance yesterday. So I'm very grateful that you let me back in your
We have technically
studios.
we have 2 open doors here in studio, so you're able to work your way in. So always an open door situation here. New York and New Jersey. New Jersey's up 1-0 now on that one. Minnesota and Midwest are underway. Utah leading 4-0 over Pacific Northwest.
We got New York, New Jersey is always an interesting battle. They have Jersey and New York are really sneaky good. We watched a little bit of New York with no, that was Pennsylvania. That was pummeling Michigan we watched yesterday. But Jersey usually brings a lot of good arms. So, and then we have Minnesota, Midwest. That's Team Rob Allison, kind of the czar of that neck of the woods. And
I told Robbie he's got to sit dead center in the middle. That way he's not picking sides. He said, love each of your kids equally and sit directly behind home plate.
Yeah.
We got Michael Revelle taking the mound now for Pacific Northwest. Michael's coming into this 6'4", 195 pounds. He's the 5th-ranked outfielder in Washington, 15th overall. Exit velos are on 95. He's got a fastball. We've got him at 86. Along with a changeup and slider. So let's see how he pops here as he gets things started as the second pitcher to take the ball for Pacific Northwest in this. They're again trailing 4-0 against Utah. A bit of an inauspicious start, but he's around almost 90 on that.
Yeah, Utah came here a couple of years ago, and they kind of lit everyone on fire with the team they had. So let's see how Utah is. Looks like they're off to a good start.
I had to ask Jeff Scholzen because he's got a couple 2028s on this main roster, and he kind of takes the approach of I'm just put the best possible team I can out there. Some of the state directors look and say, hey, I'm trying to get the guys that these college recruiters can get in touch with, but I find it's certainly interesting to bring some 2028s and some that have ridiculous numbers like the ones he brought.
Yeah, and I question what's going on here, and I watched one of the 2028s,
Austin
Brown take his BP session, and I stopped questioning because it was really good.
Yeah, it's remarkable stuff out of him. Meanwhile, you got a 2026 Kai Chrisman for them. Bat speed's almost at 90, 88.8 with exit velos at 106. Told him that's like somebody you'd build an MLB The Show, and it would just like bring up a thing, that says this isn't fair. I think we got a bit of an issue going on in the New York, New Jersey game behind the plate. Somebody's shaking up a little bit.
It's kind of like Bo Jackson in Tecmo Bowl.
That's right, yeah.
You just hand it off to him and let him run around.
That's right.
It's automatic touchdown.
Yeah, that's Kai Chrisman. Once we get the Future Games video game, that's what you got to make happen. There needs to be a prep baseball video game. Figure out they finally figured out the NIL thing for college football. I think you can figure out the NIL thing for high school baseball players.
I don't think anyone's ever going to figure out NIL. Period. It's I do not want to ever throw my hat in the ring on that thing because it's a giant hornet's nest.
Yeah, it's certainly it's going to get untangled by somebody, but it's going to be much smarter minds than us to make it happen. 2-1 count up top there with Pacific Northwest and Utah. Again, Michael Revelle at the plate on the mound for Pacific Northwest. He's facing off against Cash Polson, who hit a 3-run bomb yesterday for Utah. They're already up 4-0 in that one.
Pacific Northwest, I'm forgetting the arm that threw yesterday, but he made a lot of noise.
Probably the McCray Kerfman, who had 2 innings with 4 strikeouts for them. That was a guy who absolutely popped for them in that one.
Just some really sneaky good ball players up in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, Kerfman, the 7th-ranked shortstop in Washington, 22nd overall. but
up to
showing
like
out on the mound.
93 or 94 on the mound. Yeah.
So Ravel delivers. See, Polson's got in store for him. Skies that one down the right side on the run. Right fielder is going to watch that go foul.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, they had a unnamed guy named Noble Meyer who, lanky, athletic, 6'5" kid, and 2 years later he was throwing 99 and was a pretty high draft pick in the first round.
2 outs downstairs there in Minnesota and Midwest. New Jersey continues to lead 1-0 over New York. Cash Polson's at bat continues with a full count here in this 4-0 lead for Pacific Northwest in the bottom of the third. Everything was delayed a little bit on field 11 where Minnesota and Midwest are playing as the Indiana game before them went a little long. Polson gets a hold of that one, 80 miles an hour, has him on the run in center field. Camp underneath that for the second out. We have on the mound here for New York and New Jersey. Ethan Lee on the mound right now for Team New Jersey.
Warming up at 90, that's a good starting point.
Yeah, the baseline on him is 91 with the fastball, curveball, slider change. 2021 junior feature gamer out of Don Bosco Prep.
That's the factory. Don Bosco Prep is an absolute factory, nationally recognized for over a decade, at least.
See who Ethan Lee's going to be facing off here to start things off against Team New York. That's going to be Anthony Marisco. Anthony from Tappan Zee High School, #1 outfielder in New York, 9th overall in the class. See what Ethan Lee has in store for him. He goes upstairs at 90.8.
Ring the bell.
The crowd's starting to gather behind him back there. It's like they can sniff it. The scouts can sniff 90 and
like rain.
Yeah, that's right.
Sniff it.
Yep, 91.3 in the swing and a miss. It's like when you're even open a package of something and my dog's sitting right next to me. Those are the scouts. They know 90's about to happen. Waiting for some crumbs to fall their way. See what he does on the 1-1. Just misses on the secondary. It's 80.6.
That was a good pitch.
See who Utah is going to throw at us now. This is going to be Cayman Sanchez, who we heard Jeff Scholzen talking about.
I don't know what if he was just waiting for a breaking ball. He was guessing breaking ball and just threw 92 down the middle of the plate. Said, hit it if you can.
Well, apparently he can't because Ethan Lee's got himself a strikeout. We'll see. New York's going to throw at him next. Get this one in play. Two down, and now New York will turn things over to Tyler Durkin. Two down, Ethan Lee on the mound for New Jersey. Going back into 91-1. Top of the second now in Minnesota and Midwest.
I think Ethan Lee is getting a circle and a star on people's scorecards.
Yeah, that was nasty right there. Able to get that in for a strike. He's got an 0-2 count. He's already got a strikeout.
What's it going to do, Corey? Is he going to...
He's going back fastball.
Upstairs?
Yep, he's going to elevate the fastball right here. He's going to get himself a K and strut off.
This is the video game part of it.
Oh, he does go elevate a fastball. He's able to fend that off, though, put it in play.
I don't even know how he did.
Yeah, I don't know how he felt that. I was able to fight that off, but nonetheless he does. But nice job. 90.1 was the readout there for Ethan Lee. And saw him hit 90, what, 5-6 times during that run
Strikes, quick outs equals yes. That's the simple math equation. And and then you add in 90 to 92 with the good breaking ball. So good stuff from Mr. Lee.
Got Cordell Clinkingbeard on the mound right now for Midwest, and that is the most fantastic name of anybody here.
Clinkingbeard?
Clinkingbeard, Cordell Clinkingbeard. That's the best name here at the 2024 feature games. Bouncer to short. Yeah, there's throws in time for the out.
Sounds like an old Pirates name.
Yeah, it's an awesome name is what it is.
Captain Clinkingbeard.
That's right. Playing for Team Midwest out of Papillion La Vista South High School in Nebraska. Second-ranked catcher in the state, 5th overall. He's at 91. You got a catcher that can fire 91 miles an hour. He's not going to be behind the plate too long.
Mixes in a 75-mile-an-hour breaking ball there.
Yeah, 5'10", 190-pounder. Got a pop timer on 191, 195. So he's able to get it done behind the plate without question. But you see this kind of talent on the mound.
You know, a lot of really good pitchers started out as catchers. So usually they're good strike throwers. It's a short, compact arm.
He's got a nice secondary. Gets him frozen. Call him Anna or Elsa because that was absolutely frozen.
Yeah, what did he drop yesterday on us? Yesterday, he's the mayor of, what was it?
Shovetown.
Shovetown.
That's right.
Do you just like think about these things and you jot them down during dinner? And
I see it in front of the mirror, you know, and you practice them. Like remember Stuart Smalley?
Yeah, I was
like,
just thinking
I'm good enough, I'm smart enough.
Gosh darn it, people like
that's
me.
That's right. That's what you do. Daily affirmations. That's how you make sure you come correct for the broadcast. That's how we do.
I find that one especially amusing because my 4-year-old daughter, thinks she's Elsa. So she wears, Elsa dresses and all that stuff. So
an absolute dart behind the plate upstairs in New York, New Jersey. Yeah, my kids used to run around with the Buzz Lightyear and Sheriff Woody costumes on. And when they got to high school, we told them they had to stop. Oh. No, that was never much fun.
Yeah, your peers might be talking about you if you're wearing Buzz Lightyear.
Well, they make costumes in bigger sizes, so.
Yeah.
So 4-0 is the lead for Utah over Pacific Northwest. 1-0 for New Jersey over New York. It's still scoreless in Minnesota and Midwest. Cayman Sanchez on the mound for Utah as they're taking on Pacific Northwest. The arm that we got going for New York right now is Tyler Durkin.
Big 6'4", coming from the 18th floor. Look how that's a high slot. Works downhill.
Is.
Yeah. It's a steep angle working at 84.
Got to imagine he's got a 12-6 curveball when you're coming with that kind of extension at top.
That fella out of vogue, the really high slot, working, pounding downhill at the bottom of the zone, and it's starting to come back in vogue because everyone's figured out how to beat the we're working top down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Max Fried, a guy who's been throwing that 12-6 for a long time. Clayton Kershaw gets the strikeout. Nice job by Durkin.
Some long arms he has here.
Yeah, listed at 6'4", 182 pounds. So you could probably put another 30 pounds on that frame and still have him moving the same way. You think when a scout's looking at a guy like that, he starts to realize, like, okay, we can put some weight on him, and then he starts to think what kind of an impact he's going to have on the school's food budget.
Not the food budget.
No, not the food budget.
No, but certainly the slot, where the slot makes a big difference, because you don't want, it's like the old Tampa Rays, philosophy of different looks, right? You don't want the same guy, coming from the standard high 3/4 slot, and so I do think that different looks, especially at the college level, makes a difference, and obviously arm speed, and the least talked about, but probably the most important is the strike pitch. Can you throw strikes?
Durkin finds himself giving up a double there against Team New Jersey. I think he's having a little bit of trouble locating that secondary and just going back to the fastball.
It's like he's, yep.
So this is Ryan McCady now for Team New Jersey. Ryan out of St. Joseph's Montvale. A chance to extend New Jersey's lead here as they're already up 1-0 over New York in the second inning. While Utah Pacific Northwest remains 4-0, and Midwest and Minnesota are still scoreless in the second. Danny Scheller is now on the mound for Team Minnesota.
It's a good looking pitch right there by Scheller. He just had a 88-mile-an-hour fastball with some serious arm side run to it. Dotted the edge. Good pitch.
Yeah, 2022 junior feature gamer is the #1 ranked outfielder in Minnesota, #3 overall. Also runs a 6.65 60. So you're just talking about an athlete as a velo's over 100, bat speed 75.8, and he's getting up there, pumping it north of 80 on the mound.
Good athletes usually could do a lot of things on the baseball field.
That's right. He's got a 1-0 count. He's got some traffic on the base pass runners at first and second, delivers on the 1-0. Pacific Northwest on the board. It's 4-1 now, lead for Utah. Jacob Rolling from Jesuit High School in Oregon now at the plate.
This is how you know you're a true professional, Cory, when you are tracking all 3 games. You're commentating on all 3 games.
That's right.
It's really impressive.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad you're here for the ride, because it's I don't like to drive alone.
Well, I don't know how much help I'm providing you at this stage. If you want to talk a little bit more about Elsa.
They made a second one of those movies, right? I never saw past the first one. I decided I was going to let it go and didn't go see
I pretty much
one.
have banned all sequels.
Yeah.
It's never works out.
I told you I was going to let it go. The sequel was going to let it go.
See, you are just.
Yeah. Never saw that one. I'm sure they've made more than 2 of them at this point. They just can't stop themselves. Sanchez fires for Utah and ended up walking him. So more traffic on the base pass.
It's been beautiful weather here today. Knock on wood, let's find it.
That's right. This is Anthony Karras now out of Gonzaga Prep with the bases loaded for Pacific Northwest.
You feeling something special right now?
I think I am. Karras, 6'1", 185-pounder, third-ranked outfielder in Washington. Exit velos 99.7, bat speed 76.6.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, he put some barrel on this one. I think an underrated part of future games is a lot of these guys were swinging wood for a lot of the summer. Now you get to put a metal bat back in their hands and let them go to work. These guys are ready to ball out. Anthony Karras ready to write his legend here. 1-0 count. It's a strike.
Not his pitch.
Not his pitch.
83 on the outer edge.
Cayman Sanchez going to show his mettle here with 2 outs. That's one right back up the middle.
Oh.
Second's going to gather, get the out on the way to second base, so they get out of the jam, leave the bases loaded. Anthony Karras.
Looks like the pitcher got enough glove on it to slow it down because it was pretty well struck.
It was. Utah continues to lead 4-1, and that one just limits them to 1 run for Pacific Northwest. Meanwhile, Midwest up 3-0. Skies that one into center field on the run. Right fielder's got it. Everybody's going to retreat. So you can see how Team Midwest got this 3-0 lead. Got a 3-run double out of Colton Romick. Colton Romick, a name that we were talking to Rob Allison about. Romick from WDM Valley in Iowa, 6'3", 180-pounder, 4th-ranked right-handed pitcher in the state, 10th overall. Showing off with the bat there and getting Team Midwest a 3-0 lead.
We got Mr. Ethan Lee back on the mound. Let's see if he could have another short inning here, quick inning.
Yeah, Ethan Lee on our radar right now. Already seen him at 90 multiple times, swinging a miss. Easy heat coming out of the hands of Ethan Lee.
And that's what a lot of people look for too, is can a pitcher get swing and miss in the zone with strikes? And he just threw that 90 right down the middle, and see if he can get it.
He's got a 1-1 count. Comes at him, just misses there, makes it 2-1.
Showing off a changeup.
The 2021 junior feature game have been looking awfully strong in this appearance here from New Jersey.
Yeah, I remember 2 or 3 years ago, Jersey, it's like early in the morning, they rolled out this kid named Chase Petty who was throwing 95-mile-an-hour bullets.
I believe he broke a bat that morning, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we had him here for area code games a year later. He was over 100 at that point. Goes back 90.9. That was the fabled couple week stretch where we had both Chase Burns and Chase Petty go triple digits here, and that was an eye-opening summer for sure. On the heels of everybody wearing masks, you could finally, that's when you could really see that everyone was looking at everyone's eyes anyways, and you're like, oh, this guy's got everybody's attention. Swing and a miss, man. Ethan Lee,
you know what,
putting on a show.
That is impressive. He just went an 80-mile-an-hour changeup. It was a really good pitch. So good for Ethan Lee.
See if he's got another strikeout up his sleeve. He's already one down here on the top of the second. And goes right back at it. He's not wasting any time, just pumping it in there, throwing strikes.
You know what makes such
check swing.
You know what makes such a big difference, Corey, is pitchers that get the ball, see the sign, and work fast. It makes such a difference to the defense, the pace of game, and just certain pitchers just work so slowly. Like remember Rick Sutcliffe?
Oh yeah.
The human rain delay.
Yeah, walked into an NLDS series between Atlanta and the Dodgers when Rich Sutcliffe was an ESPN analyst. Walked into the stadium with him one year at Truist Park. Three-one count for Ethan Lee. See if he can fight his way back into this one. Oh man, goes inside on him. He's going to issue a walk, a one-out walk. His first base runner he's allowed. Now we get to see him pitch for the stretch, and I think you always got to have a little bit of interest to see how a guy does when he gets in this situation.
I think he's going to be just fine. That's my hunch.
Yeah, not a lot mechanically, right? He's just rise and fire. See what he's got in store here. Flicks that foul.
Michael Revel still pitching at 90 for Pacific Northwest, and got identical 17 black jerseys, both with working at 90 miles per hour.
Oh, sends that one into center field. That's going to be down for a hit. So they get to Ethan Lee and advance the runners. And I got him at first and second. A little bit of pressure on him. He looked awfully good in that first inning appearance. And now he's out there and he's allowed a walk and a hit. Does have another strikeout, though. So a 3-0 lead for Midwest over Minnesota. Utah up 4-1 over Pacific Northwest. See New York's got up here now to face off against Ethan Lee.
Yeah, I'm just so impressed by a lot of these hitters, right? Like the pitchers, you know, they get a lot of, they're throwing 90, 94, and all these guys have really good arms, right? And these hitters stand up there completely desensitized by velocity, and they just stand there like they've seen it for a long time. And you know, I hate to be that guy that, you know, harkens back to the olden days, but you know, 85, 88 was a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, at this level, and now people have just velocity is just it's insane. But it's really the hitters adapting to it.
It's like New York's batting in numerical order. So this is Ryan Morrell from Citius Prep, 5'9", 163-pounder, second-ranked outfielder in New York, 12th overall in the class. Was a 6'6", 160. Was also here last summer for the future games. He's got exit velos around 95. If he puts a charge into one here, could, you know, run plate in here for New York against New Jersey. Skies that one down the left side on the run. I think that's going to go foul. Sure what we got going on here in Utah and Pacific Northwest. Dan Scholzen's going around looking for answers.
They rolling the inning?
Yeah, I think they may be rolling the inning.
Good.
So 3-0 lead for Midwest over Minnesota. Well, maybe they're not going to roll the inning. Not quite sure what's going on in Utah and Pacific Northwest, why we have a stoppage in time. This is Dylan Mamiya now at the plate for team, excuse me, no, that's Lewis Marin for Team New York. There's 2 down for Ethan Lee in New Jersey.
It's when legends are made right here.
Swing and miss, 89-4.
0-2. What are you doing?
I'd love to see a really good breaking ball here. Can he go back foot curveball on it?
Back foot curveball. So you're coming in, you're going to throw a curveball in the front. You're going, all right.
Let's see if he's got
it. I'm going fastball up, like really up.
No, it was up. Pops him up. Another nice job for Ethan Lee. Do some scoreless again. That crowd behind him is definitely filled out. That's going to be, I believe, all we're going to see out of Ethan Lee in this one. He's had his couple innings. Believe New Jersey is going to now roll to Nate Bott.
I'm going to have to step away, but I am going to come back. I know this is unprecedented. Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'll be back.
No, you're good. We're going to take a quick break in studio. We'll be back. Sean Duncan's going to take he's going to take a quick break, but we'll see him a little bit later. We'll be back from our watch party here for the 2024 Future Games.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, you'll always find more fun with great brands at the best prices. More of this, and this. So you can get together for a little of that, and a lot more of that. And even some of that, and that's good. Have more fun with great brands at the best prices. Only at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
McCartney solo momentarily here in our watch party for the 2024 Future Games. Former big leaguer Brandon Geyer stopped by the studio. He's rebuilding minds and helping players be great at handling failure through the Major League mindset. He joined me in studio earlier. Let's check out our time together with Brandon Geyer. Joined by Brandon Geyer. Joined by Brandon Geyer, former big leaguer and founder of Major League Mindset. Brandon, man, appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
So let's talk about this. The Major League Mindset. I know you're doing some stuff with Prep Baseball on this. Take me inside the mission to rebuild minds and making players great at handling failure.
Yeah, that's a great way to frame it up right there. Really, since I retired, well, it started decades ago. So my first 3 years in high school, I below average player, no one talking to me, nothing. Unrecruited. Heading into senior year is like, okay, if I don't want my career to end, I need to train the mental side of the game. So I started to get into it. Senior year, I was like given this key that unlocked myself. And that was like, okay, wow. This is powerful. And so from that moment on, I continued to train it. Fast forward to 2020 when I retired from baseball, I started Major League Mindset, where kind of like what you just said, I have one sole mission: empower ball players with a mindset that enables them to consistently show up as the best version of them on and off the field. Off the field, a big part of that, because I really, really believe that the same mindset and identity and set routines that's going to help these players thrive off the field and skyrocket their well-being. It's the same exact mindset and identity, sense of self, and routines that are going to skyrocket their performance on the field. So I'm really, really all in with helping them do that. And you talked about great at failing. the best of the best are the best at failing, no matter what we do in life, but especially baseball. There's so much failure. How can you be not fragile and break easily, not resilient and bounce back quicker than most? How can you be anti-fragile and unbreakable? And the more you get kicked around, the stronger you get. When players are AAs, anti-fragile athletes, they're undeniable, they're unstoppable. Does that mean D1? Does that mean college? Does that mean minors and big leagues? Who knows? But what it does mean, they're finding out how good they can be. They're tapping in, they're getting in, they're chipping away to get it to their masterpiece. And then whatever that means for them, who knows? It's out of their hands, but they're giving themselves the best shot to find out how good they can be as a player and as a person. So
I know you're doing speaking engagements and doing that in conjunction with prep baseball. People can go to BrandonGuyer.com, though. You have 3 different programs, an 8-week training program for both players and teams, the Fearless Hitting program, Major League Parents as well. We're in an elevated atmosphere here. Players are coming here with the intent of trying to get and become a Division I player. There's all these hundreds of college scouts here. You played in a World Series, so truly understanding all of that, what's the message in the process in your program in terms of players trying to be their best in those big moments without them letting them kind of consume them?
Great call. So it really what I think it comes down to is self-awareness first. 2 things. Become the world's greatest expert on one subject, yourself. Get to know yourself really well. 2 things when it comes to self-awareness. Who are you at your best? We name that identity on and off the field, 2 different identities. What is it you do that leads to that best version of you showing up? Then it's simple. Not easy, it's simple. Do more of that, do less of the other stuff. Once you realize this checklist for success and simplify everything when it comes to self-development and you becoming the best version of you as a player and person, what do you do? Let's do that more. Let's have the discipline to do it, especially if we don't feel like doing it. And then what happens? You're more confident than ever. You play free and loose on a consistent basis. Doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees you're giving yourself the best shot. And as athletes, all we can do is try to increase our odds. And as we continue to climb the levels, the talent gap is shrinking. The competition is way better. There's not a lot of low-hanging fruit. It's what are you doing? Everyone's working hard. Everyone has technology. Everyone's doing that. What are you doing that other people are not doing? A lot of it's the mental side. I would argue 98% of high school athletes have never intentionally trained their mind. We know the game's 90% mental, at least. As you go up the levels, I would say it's 95, closer to 100. So then, like the seminars I'm giving here, I started off the talks with this. It's 90% mental, at least. What percentage of the time do you train that side of the game? What do you think they say?
Next to nothing. Yeah.
0 to 5%. And that was me my first 3 years in high school. That's the majority. So then you get the results that the majority of the people get. You get whatever everyone else gets. Well, let's be a 1%er. Let's be not normal in a good way. Let's do what others aren't doing. That's low-hanging fruit, whether it's your breath, whether it's meditation, whether it's you just having this great self-awareness of, I know I'm going on and on, stop me. I could go on and on about this, but I'm getting to the answer of your question. So in those big moments, I wanted to set that story about getting to know yourself well. That's important in these moments because when we are out of our comfort zone in big moments such as me walking out on deck, Game 7, bottom of the 8th, 2 outs of the World Series in 2016. I'm about to face Aroldis Chapman, biggest at-bat of my life. I can predict the high arousal in my body, the fear, the anxiety. I know that's coming. We call it the best and the worst inside of us. We all, as humans, have a lot of good and a lot of bad inside of us. So it's recognizing who am I at my best, who am I at my worst, and then being mindful. It's a 2-step process. At these events, when I'm speaking, I'm saying, I could talk to you guys for 10 hours today. We could boil it all down to be mindful when that worst version of you is taking control. Take control of your breath, of your focus, of your self-talk, and I call it close the gap. You're capable of this. You're actually being this. Close that gap so there's no room for that fear, anxiety, worry, doubt, stress to take over. Once again, be mindful when the not-so-good version is taking control. Do something about it. Use a mental tool. When we all have mental tools to change our mental state, these players, it's like they have this cheat code that 98% of other players don't have. Oh, I'm not feeling confident. A lot of self-doubt. I have fear, anxiety. Oh, okay. And we name it the best and worst. We give them names. Kobe Bryant was the Black Mamba when he played. The best of the best have alter egos. They do. For me, the worst, I named it a sheep. The best, I have a big lion tattoo. I named it a hungry lion. I'm stepping out on deck. I notice the sheep, the fearful, the anxiety, all of that worry version of me that we all have. That's trying to take it, Baron, as big as the bat of your life. Don't mess up. Don't strike out. Millions are watching. I said, no. I had a flip the switch routine. I basically take a deep breath. Imagine flipping a light switch, becoming the hungry lion and eating the sheep. So I'm on deck, I'm acting like I'm in the box. All I'm doing is taking control of my self-talk. Because in the moment, if we're not careful in big moments, our self-talk's going to direct our focus to what we hope doesn't happen. Hope I don't strike out here. Hope I don't look bad. Just put it in play. Don't strike out. Then that stuff's going to happen. But if you take control of your self-talk and you feed the best, remember, feed the lion, starve the sheep. With your self-talk, you're going to be focused on what you want to execute. It's going to increase your odds for success. Not going to guarantee anything, except you're putting yourself in a better position to succeed. If it guaranteed success, I wouldn't be here talking to you. I'd still be playing. But it just increases your odds. And as players, once again, for the second time, that's all we can ask for. We're increasing our odds. We're taking control. I tell players all the time, the most important time of the game. I ask players at these seminars that I'm hosting, no one can guess it, right? Oh, before the game, after the game. No, those are important. Most important time of the game, the time in between pitches. Are you dominating? Are you winning that time? If, say, you're a hitter, you're 0 for your last 12. You're 0 for 2 to start that game. There's 2 strikeouts. You're tense, you're tight, your self-talk, your focus is bad, you're not in control of your breath. The spiral started and you're just out of control. That pitcher is a ninja with the mental game. He's so locked in and focused on what he wants to execute. He knows he's better than you. His self-talk is directing his focus to exactly what he wants to do. He's in complete control. I ask players, who has a better chance to win in that pitch right there? Pitcher, obviously. So we got to know that if we want to, people say all the time, win every pitch. The only way you win every pitch is if you dominate the time in between pitches. The 10 to 15 seconds in between pitches are more important than the pitch itself. So you got to win that time. I know this is a long answer to your short question, but when we feel that fear, that anxiety, high pressure moments, realize which version's in control. If the not so good one is, use a mental tool in the moment, and that's really what I do. Give players mental tools to feed the best within them.
Obviously, people can go to BrandonGuyer.com. You've got the 8-week training program for players and teams. Again, the Fearless Hitting program, the Major League Parents. We're talking a lot about the individual, what an individual could do. I'm interested in the community, though, the community around a player. When you think about when you're working with a team, when you're working with the Major League Parent, what can people do from a community aspect to build up these situations where people can, have that strong mental approach to their game?
Yeah, no, great question. Very important. I was very lucky and blessed growing up with my father. I felt no pressure. I never was dreading the car ride home. I might have been 0 for 4, had a bad game. It's not like, why'd you swing at that? Why'd you do this? I think the number one thing, and I have 3 young kids at home, number one thing I try to do, did you play your best? Did you control the controllables? Your effort, your attitude, how you were as a teammate, a leader, your response to adversity. If my kids or the kids I coach don't do that well, then they know I'll get upset. If they make an error, if they strike out, I don't care. As long as they're controlling what's in their control. So to answer your question, I think that's what we need to emphasize. Do the best you can with what's in your control. If you don't have success, you did the best you could. There's no regret. But there's too much at the younger ages, pressure, win. Well, you know what? You win more, you get the results that you're not attached to more when you're so obsessed with the controllables. And then you have more fun and you play free and loose, and that's why the results come as a byproduct. So I think, actually, I know that's what we got to do, is emphasize the controllables. Don't just say it. It's simple to say it, man. It's another thing to practice it like a warrior. Things don't go my way. I'm going to have responsibility. I have the power and the ability to respond to this like the best version of me would. I'm not going to be perfect with it, but what if you can be more and more consistent? Well, then you're putting yourself in a better position to succeed. You're helping others do the same too. So for coaches, the great John Wooden said, your own example counts most. The greatest coach of all time. So me as a coach, I travel around, all I do is preach control the controllables, all this stuff. If me as a coach, if I don't do that, why would a player listen to me? So I think as coaches, we need to be relentless with that, because players are looking at us. If we're going crazy about an umpire call, we can't, well then why can't the player? He sees you do it, and I could go on and on, but to answer your question, I think that's everything. Put the emphasis on that. the players will feel less pressure, less stress, less anxiety, less fear, and they're going to play better ultimately.
What was the responsibility like in 2015 and 16 when you hit a combined 55 times in those 2 seasons? Led the majors in both those years and hit by pitches.
Yeah.
Number one, how did you kind of handle that in staying within your game? And secondly, what did David Bryce have against you? Because he hit you 5 times.
Funny about that. Some of them, if you look, it almost looks like my arm was in the strike zone. So I think he was mad. He gets mad about that. But so for me, when it comes to getting hit, that's how I start off these talks I give on the mental and physical side. Players, I've experienced and dealt with anything you ever have or inevitably will. Mentally, fear, worry, doubt, stress, all performance anxiety. I've dealt with it all. Dealt with the yips at one point in my career when I came back from finger injury. 2 Tommy Johns. So mental side, dealt with it all. Physically, all-time leader in hit by pitches per plate appearance in Major League Baseball history. I had the nickname La Piñata. Never went up there looking to get hit, but I got hit a lot. It was a combination of things, Corey. When I would stride, my front foot would go towards the plate. A lot of lefties would like to pitch me in. They didn't want me to get extended. But I think the most important part, I wired myself not to move. I wired myself to look at it. This is a single. My on-base percentage is going up. I'm getting on base for people to drive me in. Who cares if I get hit, especially if I'm down 1-2 to Chris Sale or David Bryce. Now, I'm not going to try to, but if they want to come in and they miss a little bit, I looked at it like it was a weapon. Once again, I'm never consciously up there thinking get hit. And I never wore any padding, no shin guard, no nothing. It was just one of those things where I used it as a weapon. I wired myself not to be afraid of getting hit. I know that's a big thing for young players. That's why I created a program that since I retired, a lot of players are reaching out and parents, my son quit. He couldn't get over the fear of getting hit. It's hard to hear and see, and it's a real thing. But the cool thing is we all have the gift of growth. We all have the gift of change, of adaptability. We can train our mind just like our body because we all have the same gift, every human. So if you train it, you can get over that. That's the beautiful thing. Whether it's fear, whether it's having set routines to handle high pressure moments, all that stuff. You can train it and get over it. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, you talk about it from the hitting standpoint, but as coaching myself, I can't tell you how many times I've had a pitcher who, during warm-ups, or, during a practice, is a completely different pitcher than in a game because he's so worried about hitting somebody. When you try to run at that velo, it's like that's the other side of it. Like somebody may be scared to get hit by the pitch, but the pitcher may really not have that ability to cut loose like he would because he doesn't even have that side of it.
Yeah. So translating practice into games is one of the biggest things for all players. I remember those first 3 years in high school. I can show out in practice, do all this, I'm free and loose, but game time, it's like I'm a different player.
Yep.
What I think for a lot of players, they let things happen by chance, not by choice. They don't have a set pre-pitch routine that they're doing. So that last thought, Derek Jeter says, the last thing you think is the first thing you do. On a pre-pitch routine, the very last thing we think is the most important part of it. Yeah, holding your bat up or whatever, looking at a focal point, taking a deep breath to get into the present moment, very important. The final thought, though, is everything because it's going to lead to you, once again, your focus being on what I want to execute or what I hope I don't do. Don't hit this batter. No, I'm throwing it through the catcher's face mask, top of the zone. Totally different mindsets there. Our focus determines our future. So if we're focused, we have a set pre-pitch routine, we are taking control of our self-talk, feeding the best, well, then we're not going to be thinking about hitting the hitter. Now, is this overnight? No, you got to wire your brain. And then before you know it, it's unconscious. It's just autopilot. You have your pre-pitch routine, and you don't even think about the hitter in the box, honestly. You just think about the glove and what you want to execute.
Brandon Guyer looking to unlock the part of the game that everybody needs to get over the top, so make sure you head to BrandonGuyer.com. Brandon, man, appreciate it. Thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, thank you, Corey.
First one I picked up, I just liked it the best. And like I said, I tried a lot of different companies, a lot of different models, and I fell in love with Hickory for sure.
Here representing Team Canada at the 2024 Prep Baseball Feature Games is Robert Omidi from St. Martin High School in Ontario. Anna Bellinghausen had a chance to catch up with Robert during workout day.
Alongside Deion Cole at the Prep Baseball Feature Games, what does it mean to be here with all this talent?
Yeah, it's going to be a great experience, you know. I'm excited to be able to represent Georgia and myself to all the...
Here alongside Robert Omidi at the Prep Baseball Feature Games, how special is it to be here just with all this talent across the nation?
I'm really honored to come to this event. I know it's one of the biggest uncommitted events in North America, so being here is just an honor, and I can't wait to get the big stage.
Yeah, and then coming down from Canada, I know you're the #1 prospect out of Ontario, but how cool is it to also see where you stack up in the U.S.?
Oh, guys in the U.S. are amazing, so getting to play with them, I'm really excited, and I guess I'll see this weekend when I set my stone in to play against them.
What kind of skills do you hope to showcase most here?
Probably I like all my tools, but probably my bat. I like a bat to ball guy, hit some home runs, barrel up a lot of balls. So I kind of want to hit a lot of barrels this weekend.
What have been your biggest points of growth throughout your high school career, now going into your junior season?
Probably my power. I started off as a big bat to ball guy, didn't have a lot of power. But this year, I'm at 11 home runs, so kind of big jump from last year where I only had 3.
How much does mindset and just your mentality play into all of that?
Well, mentality is probably the biggest part of baseball, so just being ready for the game, being mentally prepared is a big part.
And how much does that come into play with all the scouts watching, college coaches? How do you remain calm, cool, and collected throughout all this?
Probably just being in the zone, getting into a groove, staying in the zone, not worrying about who's watching, just worrying about yourself.
What kind of player are you? What can fans expect out of you?
Probably putting 110% on the field every time.
Last one, what are you looking forward to most here at LakePoint?
Exposure, playing with talented players, and hitting barrels.
There you go, Robert. Thanks so much for the time and best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Studio, Cory McCartney. You are watching our 2024 Prep Baseball Feature Games watch party. New Jersey has a 2-0 lead over New York. Meanwhile, Utah up 4-2 over Pacific Northwest. Midwest leading 3-2 over Minnesota. We're going to take a break here in studio. When we come back, should be continuing to see our parade of prep baseball luminaries joining us. And I believe Sean Duncan said he might be making a return here into the studio. So have plenty more action to you here from in studio. But in the meantime, you have a chance to check out all the action from across the baseball village.
joined now by Andrew Giles. How special is it to be here at the Prep Baseball Feature Games?
I mean, it's super cool. This is a super nice facility. I've never been here. This is my first time at LakePoint. It's a beautiful facility with the trees and stuff. It's cool to be here with the best players in the country, with all the scouts, all the cameras, everything. It's super cool to be able to showcase stuff like that.
What do you hope to showcase most?
I hope to showcase that I'm truly one of the best players in the country. I feel that way. My coaches feel that way, and I just hope to prove everybody right and get the looks doing it.
What sort of skills do you think separates you from other guys?
I think my hitting and my defense, that helps me a lot. I feel like I'm very advanced in like my approach and stuff at the plate, and I just hope to be able to show that off.
You obviously come in with some expectations. Do you embrace that, or how do you look at that?
I mean, I kind of just go play my game. I try not to think about all that stuff too much. At the end of the day, it's just baseball, the kid's game, same game I've been playing since I was a little kid. I try to keep everything as simple as I can and just let what happens happen.
How unique is this event too, just on the grand scheme of things? Hundreds of college coaches right before recruitment opens up for you guys.
I mean, it's super special, the fact that you get to get all the best players in your region in front of all the coaches at this facility. It's super unique in that aspect.
What are you looking forward to most at this event, first off?
I'm looking forward to just being teammates, all the different teammates, all the different guys that we meet. Teammates with the guys that are like high school rivals, get to talk to them, get to know them a little bit, and all the college coaches finally. The recruitment opens up here in like 2 weeks, so it's nice to get some looks right before that happens.
Speaking of college, what are some of the things you're looking for in a program to develop yourself?
I'm just looking for somewhere that feels like home when I go there. Like I have to be able to see myself living there for 3 to 4 years. Those are people say those are the most crucial years of your life, fresh out of high school. So I'm just looking for somewhere, obviously the coaching staff and the facilities, all that, but somewhere that feels like home, the fan base, the facilities, all that stuff has to tie together.
Andrew, thanks so much for the time and best of luck.
Thank you.
Had great stuff from Anna Bellinghausen all week long here across our coverage of the 2024 Prep Baseball Feature Games. Our watch party continues. Utah has now a 6-2 lead over Pacific Northwest. There's that man again, Cash Paulson, who hit a 3-run home run yesterday, has a couple RBI on the ledger right now. And Team Utah rolling with Caleb Weaver out of Davis High School on the mound. Meanwhile, New York and New Jersey are all notched up at 2-2. Nate Bott, was just on the mound for New Jersey, and we'll get an opportunity to bat here. And now Midwest has a 3-2 lead over Minnesota. We're going to take a quick break in studio, and we'll be back with some more voices for you to hear beyond my own here in our studio. Again, you are watching the Prep Baseball Feature Games Watch Party.
Next. Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one,
you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete and all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf. Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Already back with you, 3-2 down the bottom left corner is the lead for Midwest over Minnesota. Team Midwest with a really exciting arm. If you caught what we were doing earlier with Rob Allison joining me in studio. Colton Romick on the mound out of West Des Moines Valley in Iowa, 6'3", 180-pounder, the 4th-ranked right-hander in Iowa, 10th overall. We've got him with a fastball around 88.2, which is exactly what that last pitch was. So kudos to the prep baseball scouts for keeping that profile as up to date as you possibly can. Meanwhile, he's got a curveball around 69-71, slider 69 to 70 miles an hour, and a changeup 74 to 75. Also, first baseman gets it done at the plate, 96.3. Exit velos, bat speed around 76.8. See what he's able to do here against this Minnesota lineup. Again, his Midwest team's got a 3-2 lead in the top of the 5th there. Meanwhile, New York and New Jersey, that Bridge and Tunnel battle there is tied up at 2-2 in the 5th. Just saw a strikeout to get out of that inning. And meanwhile, Utah has continued to lead Pacific Northwest. That is now 6-3, as we've seen that it get a little bit tighter. It was a much larger Utah lead for a while there, but now 6-3. New York and New Jersey going to exchange their places on the field. And again, Colton Romick swings through that one for a foul ball. He's facing off against Owen Stray out of Minnesota. Some of these teams bat in numerical order, some of them bat in alphabetical order, so we'll see where Minnesota goes after Owen Stray and skies that one into center field. camera didn't exactly follow the flight of that ball, but it's like he's headed home, so headed to his home, not the home plate, so it's going to be an out, the first of the inning. So behind Owen Stray, Minnesota has Davis Fleming. So Fleming now on his way to the plate. He'll be followed in the order by Danny Scheller. Danny Scheller actually started things off on the mound for Minnesota, but even a better player in the field, at least ranking-wise. Number 1 ranked outfielder in Minnesota, number 3 overall, runs a 6.65 60. So we're going to see him bad as this inning continues for Minnesota and trying to claw their way back into this one. See Romerick in the count to 1-1. Give 1 down in the inning there. Midwest leading 3-2. New York, New Jersey all tied up. Utah and Pacific Northwest. Utah leading 6-3. We've enjoyed our coverage so far of the prep baseball feature games. It's far from over, though. We're going to have more action coming to you on Saturday. We've got some great games in the 12:30 window. Texas against Georgia. That's going to be a nice college football matchup come the fall, but you're going to see some extreme high-level players in that one. I mean, you're talking about big. If able to make it out to LakePoint Sports to watch one game in particular over the balance of the feature games, I feel like Texas Georgia tomorrow at 12:30 is the game. When you consider the talent that's going to be on display there. You got Lash Henderson, the #1 player in 2027, who's joined me in studio, and you're going to have just a litany of talent on that Georgia team. You've got guys like Deion Cole and Trevor Condon and just on and on and on. Cade Dawson, and we're going to have the slide in like Chris Collinsworth on a Sunday night football game from Sean Duncan as he comes back in to the booth with me. Able to give him a little bit of a breather. He had to go look up some big words, so he's able to come back in and take things over again. Sean, welcome back to the proceedings. We were talking before the game, Rob, Allison and I were, about Colton Romerick, who's on the mound right now from Midwest. He's actually now got a really great battle as he's facing off against Danny Scheller, the #1 ranked outfielder in Minnesota, who started things off, if you remember correctly, for Minnesota in this game. So now these two are going at it. Romerick, the 4th ranked righty in Iowa in the class. Oh, gets the punch out. Scheller, nice pitch by Romerick.
You like, as soon as he released the ball, he just started walking.
I love
doing
that.
the K strut.
Oh, that's the best, right? When you know, you know.
Yeah.
Prognostication skills. That's what you can have. Like, can you have 80 grade prognostication skills?
Sure. Why not?
Well, we're going to give it to Colton Romerick. Oh man, he's feeling it.
90, we'll round up. That's it.
So let's start to see now if the crowd kind of starts to gather around the Colton Romerick experience here.
But if you look around, like every pitcher on the 3 screens is like 90.
Yeah, they're all about the same velos. TrackMan is not stuck. 89.2, 88.7. Let's see what Romerick's got for him here.
So sorry to step out on you.
Oh, we had Brandon Geyer come in for a little while. He was took some time in the booth with us, so we were able to fill some time here until you were able to return to the proceedings.
Well, do you feel like you could run through a brick wall now?
I do.
He pumps me up every time I talk.
Yeah, brings a lot of energy, and it's interesting. I wanted to know, and we did spend some time on this. He got hit by a pitch 55 times combined in the 2015 and 16 seasons, 5 of which came via David Price. So I wanted to know what David Price had against him. So he said it was just the way that he leaned out over the plate, and he didn't wear any padding. He just wore it. Wore it like a uniform 55 times in 2 years.
I think he threw out the first pitch at an Guardians game recently, and then I think he stood in there and he leaned into a ball to kind of show that he was the human bounce back.
Well, he said his nickname was La Piñata, which is fantastic. You're really doing some great work, though, because I think that's something that you see a lot of, I don't want to say fly by night, but I think as a parent of a young player, I think Facebook's got that great algorithm where they'll show you what you're seemingly showing interest in, and I get a lot of stuff popping up again about mindset training and different mental skills groups that are out there for baseball. So I think to have a guy that's been through what he's been through and to be able to present it in the way that he is, I think you kind of take it a different way than you do from some of these, whether they're a clinical practitioner, or somebody who's just, putting themselves out there as a mental coach. To have somebody who's walked the walk like Brandon Geyer has, I think that really matters.
For sure. And baseball is such a mentally grinding game. And you could get lost in the catacombs of your brain thinking through your struggles, and you just kind of spiral into your head. And he really has some really super simple things to help you pull you out, because the best skill in baseball is having a short memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the shorter your memory and the shorter you could get out of that failure, because how you deal with failure. And there was one thing that one of his mantras, not to get overly psychological here, but it's just super simple, bring it on. And I started doing that with my son's 90 routine. And it's just like, oh, am I going to strike out? Is this pitcher's throwing hard? I just made an error, and just bring it on. And it really changes the mindset of from a negative to a positive. And really, that's just a simple switch that is super useful in really anything, really. Like, for example, I was standing pacing before I came into the booth, like, oh my God, am I going to fumble over my words again? I'm told I have this little speech impediment in which I say a lot, and so I was just like, am I going to make Cory look bad? And I just said, bring it on.
There you go.
Bring it on. And then I looked up some fancy words. See, I dropped catacomb on you.
I like that, yeah.
I don't know if I applied it correctly, but let's get back to baseball.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, because you think about the ability to forget. I think, like, Guy Pearce's character from Memento, who forgot every day who he was, would be like the best baseball player of all time. But it's funny because baseball is such a delayed gratification sport, right? Because you think about, and it's long been said, like guys who, strike out 7 times out of 10 are still Hall of Famers. But even think about, like, if you get drafted and you go to the minors, you're going to be on these long bus rides. You're going to be doing it, in games with a couple hundred people, doing it in, places like Danville and, in Rome here in Georgia, and like these, the long bus rides, and the obviously the money's nowhere near what it is at the major league level. It's like, it's truly like a delayed gratification sport, and to have the right mental approach going into it, I mean, it's just so different than you think about even like the draft process. Like, obviously we just got done with that. Some of these guys aren't going to see him. I know Paul Skeens is a unicorn. You're not going to see some of these guys, within 1 to 3 years of getting drafted. It's a sport built on mental toughness, and I think to be able to reinforce that and do it from a perspective that Geyer's doing it is monumental.
Yeah, and really stripping it back a little bit more. It's a nice backside hit right there. Oh, he caught it. Is at the younger levels, there's such a heavy attrition of players of, at the 12U, after 12U, there's a precipitous drop in players playing baseball.
Yep.
And it's because of a lot of that. It's, and if you could just understand it's about development and getting better, and it's not life or death if you strike out. It's not life or death if you boot a ball. It's part of the game. Everybody does it. When I watch a baseball game with Finn, I'm like, look, Bryce Harper just got the hat trick right there. Like, it happens to even the greatest of players. Like, and to me, it starts at a much younger age than just when you get to the professional level.
Yeah, your son Finn got to be a bat boy during the Prep Baseball All-American game in Milwaukee. Is he going to reclaim his duties during this year's event in Miami?
if I gave that position away, I'd be fired in the household.
So Brandon Geyer coaching one team, Matt Holliday going to be coaching the other. Is he going to be on Team Holidays or are he going to be on Team Geyer?
Oh,
he's
staying with
the 2025s.
Yeah. So
okay.
he became quite chummy with a lot of the players, and really that's a really good litmus is seeing how players treat just a random stranger. And I was just blown away by some of these players. They're throwing footballs with them, playing Xbox or whatever game it was. And
I know one of the moments that you loved, and you talked about this multiple times, was Cale Fountain. Was LSU commit, signee, got picked in the Major League draft, picking up trash, and that being something that to you like told a lot about the personality, more so than what you're seeing on the exit videos.
Yeah, on his hands and knees, getting water bottles underneath the stadium bench. And look, every single player is good there, or great, potential draft material, right? So, but no one asked him to do that. So those are the small things that paint a much sharper picture of who that person is, because really that's the larger piece of what Brandon Geyer is talking about is like the character of the player is going to carry you through the ups and the downs.
Ryan Stedman's now on the mound for Team Midwest, another exciting arm there. Second-ranked right-hander in Iowa, 8th overall. 90 on the fastball for him. Had that coming in. Let's see what he's got in store for us. 2021 junior feature gamer. Interesting conversation again with Rob. Iowa is playing their state championship games today.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable how these guys do this. Because there's, our fall travel season here at LakePoint Sports, we actually see some of the Iowa players then that we don't get to see during the summertime because they had their hands full with high school baseball. And I just don't know, how Rob and company are able to manage that state. And, it's not like those are easy trips across, a barren wasteland. My brother went to med school in Iowa, so I've been through those parts, and there is no easy travel. And then you add in the fact that they're playing their high school season so late.
Well, let me correct you on one thing. It's not a wasteland. It's a farmland, dude.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
On that. But, it's a little bizarre. I mean, Wisconsin had a piece of part of the state in Wisconsin used to be summer high school, and part of it was regular. So they finally did away with that like 4 years ago or so. Hopefully Iowa gets on the bus there. So.
It's tough though, because you almost feel like because the rest of the country is built a different way from a baseball sense, they're really doing a disservice to their kids by not allowing them to be seen in the same way. And he said, there's only a handful of schools out there anyway. And then you consider that, along with the fact that here they have to come to a place like this to be able to truly be seen, because how many scouts are going to want to go travel through there when they have to go so far to go from, city to city? It's just it's a difficult proposition, one for the player and two for the guys scouting the players.
Yeah, and Rob doesn't have to thumb wrestle the high school coaches much anymore, but back in the day, the players would turn it down, the opportunity to come here, because that's what it was. So but that's part of our part of the reason for our success is every state is uniquely nuanced, and how you deal with the nuances in the state and the setups of each state, the coaches associations, how travel balls form. So we really pride ourselves in working as an additive level at the state level. But certainly Iowa stands alone as one of the more unique, the most unique situations now.
The update on our game, still 2-2 New York, New Jersey. Utah 6-3 over Pacific Northwest. 3-2 is the lead. Oh, nice comebacker. Stedman throws the second. Pulls him off the bag. Man, we nearly saw the pitcher as an athlete vernacular right there put in motion, but he goes a little wide, so he's going to have runners at first and second. That game is 3-2 Midwest, leading in the 5th. We're on to the 8th inning. We're almost done between Pacific Northwest and Utah. And 2-2 in the 6th inning for New York and New Jersey. Utah now rolling on the mound with Caleb Weaver still. Caleb Weaver, #1 ranked 3rd baseman in Utah, fourth overall. We've got him around 84.5 on the Prep Baseball profile. Let's see what he's got in store as he's back out for his 2nd inning of work, trying to close things out.
We got bases juiced for Team Minnesota now.
Is that a moment I'm sure that Ryan Stedman will want back when he had the comebacker and had a chance to get the runner at 2nd? Now he's got his hands full.
We have a grand slam.
Ooh, boy. Yeah, let's get it.
Here.
Let's get it. Patrick Carlin at the plate right now for Minnesota. Patrick Carlin got an exit velos around 94, bat speed 77.7, 2022 junior feature gamer. Could change the complexity of this game in the bottom of the 5th. #1 ranked catcher in Minnesota.
It's when legends are made. Right?
That's right. This a platform to write his story. Like in the Jordan cleats at 2nd. Swings through that, goes back foul. Lucas Langen at 2nd base, swings through it, goes down on strikes.
Good pitch.
Ryan Stedman living up to the moment. Take a deep breath. He's again got bases loaded, 2 outs.
He's feeling his breaking ball right now. Just dropped one in, 76 miles per hour. Does he catch a number on the hitter? Just missed.
I believe that's an 8. We'll see.
Take a swing. I think you might be right. Parker Killian. So 6. Have a little chat with the barrel.
He's got a 2-1 count here. Again, bases are loaded. Minnesota trying to claw their way back into this in the bottom of the 5th. Stedman fires. Drives it into center field, camps underneath it. Gets themselves out of a jam. Minnesota going to be kicking themselves for leaving the bases loaded, but Ryan Stedman, after the errant throw to 2nd base, locks it down, is able to get himself out of trouble and maintain his lead for his team to move along in the bottom left there in that matchup. Meanwhile, Utah and Pacific Northwest 6-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Pacific Northwest trying to lock this thing up, and New York and New Jersey remain square at 2-2 in the 6th. We got at the plate right now for Utah. That's Henry Mason, or Mason Henry, excuse me.
So this is bottom of the 8th. So this Utah has the game won.
Yep. Yeah, just getting some more ABs there. Yeah, this is a really exciting player at the plate out of Pleasant Grove High School. Brother, a major leaguer, and skies that one. 83-9 off the bat into center field. That'll be hauled in for the out. Now Utah goes to Kai Chrisman, and this was the guy who we talked about putting on a show in BP. Exit velos 106, bat speed 88.8. See what he's got in store. #1 player in Utah in the class of 2026. He jumps on first pitch. 6'4", 218-pounder. Got a 0-1. Oh, that's going to plunk him.
Standing there.
Yep. Don't take your base.
Yeah.
Grin it, bear it, wear it. Let's go in there and face another pitch. Well, he's going to walk off instead, and now we're going to turn things over in the order.
It's weird. He just walked to the dugout.
He does. Does walk indeed. This is Ricardo Navarro. This was a really exciting player, talking to Jeff Scholzen about the guys on his squad. And this was, as I mentioned, this is a guy coming over from Mexico. He's living with a host family now, and #1 ranked shortstop in Utah. This guy's out to, somebody's got it, shortstop, a long run. He's got it. So there's now 2 down.
So what we got in Jersey, New York? Jersey's in the field here.
Yep, New Jersey in black, so they're in the field, and they've got Shane Hoover on the mound. Meanwhile, New York going to go with Lewis Marin at the plate at a West 50th school. Going to do it up there on top in Utah and Pacific Northwest. They're going to go through and give a nice West Coast handshake to one another. Oh, look at this! We're getting some hugs. They don't just dab. They don't just shake hands. They hug when you're going through things on the West Coast.
That's how they do it in Utah.
That's right.
Chris Mariano on the mound here for New Jersey. Is that right?
Yeah, Christopher Marano. Marano from DePaul Catholic, #5, right-handed pitcher in New Jersey, 11th overall. He's 110th at the position in the nation. 2022 junior feature gamer. Weak contact. Fields his position, throws the first in time for the out. And see Mike Salucci down there giving somebody some bling as the Dick's Sporting Goods player of the game.
We all need some bling in our lives.
That's right.
Speaking of bling, I heard that your wife makes bling.
Yeah, my wife actually makes these the really cool player necklaces with the beads and stuff. So yeah, those have been moving like crazy. She's like got a little sweatshop going at the house. Seriously, she had my kids the other night. They had them like lined up, and they were all like beading these things. She gets all the different colors, does some really cool combos. You know, she saw them on the necks of Atlanta Braves players, Michael Harris, Ron Acuna Jr., Orlando Arcia, and she said, I bet the kids would wear these things at Lake Point. So she started ordering all these different colors and does all these different cool combinations and a lot of pinks, hematite, white, black, all that kind of stuff. And they've been selling like hotcakes here. I think we're debating in my house at the end of the year when we look back at the clubhouse store and what were the top selling items. I really think this is going to be like, if not #1, it's going to be like in the top 3.
Hey, I learn something new every single day, and I learned that that's like a thing that players wear.
Yep. Yeah, these are a big ticket item for them, so they're all looking like major leaguers, and the little kids love them. We weren't really sure if the older kids were going to gravitate towards them, but and there he is, Mike Salucci putting the. Let's see who was the player of the game for Utah. I would imagine, considering the way the last couple of games that he's had, that it's probably going to be Cash Polson, who had 3 RBIs in that one. But it's actually Ryder Huntsman is walking away with player of the game in that matchup. And let's see what we got out of Ryder Huntsman in this. Really, Ryder started off on the mound for Utah, and he did 3 innings pitched, no hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts. So he is your Dick's Sporting Goods player of the game in that matchup. Meanwhile, New York, New Jersey, all notched up at 2-2 in the bottom of the 6th. And
I think you have
3-2.
You have your star guest waiting in the wings here. Dan Valerio is waiting from Team Jersey to add some.
Yeah, we got Dan Valerio waiting to come on, so I wanted you to be able to fill as much airtime as you can. But Definitely we're gonna have you back tomorrow to kind of
gonna
wrap
have me
things up.
back?
Yeah, you're back. You're scheduled to
my
come back
gosh.
tomorrow. We've also got Shooter Hunt on the docket for tomorrow as well.
You're gonna
So
slow Shooter down?
yeah, we've got. I mean, I will tell you, tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun because not only do I have you coming on to lead things off for our big slate of Texas, Georgia, Wisconsin, Kansas, New York, Massachusetts. We also have Ethan Offing from South Carolina, one of the top-ranked players in the state of South Carolina, coming on. Also got Brandon Goins from Texas. Vinny Rottino is going to come by from Wisconsin. Obviously, the Brewers coverage.
You gotta watch your job.
Graham. That's
Watch
right.
your job.
Oh, I know. He's coming. He's cutthroat. He's coming. Yeah, he's got resume in hand, and then we're going to finish off the day with Shooter Hunt. So it's going to be a great day of games for us there. But
What
Sean,
time do I have to report by?
we start off at 12:30 tomorrow. So yeah,
I will not be late.
all right,
sir.
we'll see you at 12:30 tomorrow.
You're the
Appreciate it.
man.
Enjoy the night.
Appreciate
all right,
you.
we'll see you soon. We're going to take
Thank
a quick
you.
break. When we come back, we will be joined by New Jersey's Dan Valerio.
Thank you.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Next. Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one.
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete in all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf.
Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
Welcome back, Cory McCartney, waiting on Dan Valerio from Prep Baseball, New Jersey, to step in. Meanwhile, New York, New Jersey, still notched up at 7-2 in the seventh inning. Midwest has a 3-2 lead over Minnesota in the bottom of the sixth, and we're also going to see now for Team Minnesota on the mound is going to be Sullivan Conlon is going to be on the mound for them. Look at Sullivan on the mound there, trying to maintain this 3-2 lead. Midwest going to try to lead on that going. Meanwhile, New York, New Jersey all notched up at 2-2. Now on the mound for New Jersey, we've got Henry Pancoast. All wrapped up on our top game there between Utah and Pacific Northwest. 6-3 win for Pacific Northwest. We already saw the Dick's Sporting Goods Player of the Game award handed out there. As I mentioned multiple times, tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun between Texas and Georgia, Wisconsin, Kansas, New York, Massachusetts. I was saying it right before Sean Duncan came on, but that Texas-Georgia game is just going to be absolute talent fest. I would imagine that's probably going to be one of the most attended games that we have here across the few days of game action of the prep baseball feature games. When you think about the amount of scouts that are going to be in tow for that one, especially looking at the class of 2027 with Texas's Lash Henderson. They're going to have to wait a little bit on him, but a number of 2026s who are going to be readily available for coaches to contact in the next few days, including Deion Cole for here in Georgia, along with Trevor Condon, one of his teammates at Etowah High School, just coming off a state championship win for them. It'll be a really talented crew that they're going to roll out. I know it's going to be a really exciting day for them, and we're also going to be joined by Hudson Graham tomorrow, and look at the pitchers that Georgia's going to be rolling out in that one, and I think these pitching staffs have been fantastic. I was actually talking to a player who will go unnamed on this Georgia squad yesterday, but he said our pitching is really good, but when you look at the bats in this lineup, this is like a travel team, and that always seems to be a reoccurring theme when you talk to players when they leave the prep baseball feature games, is they think, man, I would love for this to be an actual travel squad, because they feel like they could do some serious damage with some of these crews, and certainly this Georgia team feeling like it. They're going to roll out A.J. Rice, Diego Becerra, Wyatt Bull, and Luke Nikowski during today's games. Tomorrow will be Jack Richardson leading things off, Reed Gaines, Sebastian Wallace, and they'll close things out with Vernon Woodard. If that Luke Nikowski name sounds familiar, pitching in the nightcap today. I believe they're not supposed to get started because of some delays in games till 10 o'clock. He, of course, is the son of C.J. Nikowski, the former big leaguer. C.J. spent, I believe, 14 years in the majors. First-round draft pick out of St. John's, and obviously now currently an Atlanta Braves color analyst. So Luke has been spinning the ball all year long here at LakePoint Sports, playing for Georgia Jackets in Creekview. Fastball up around 90 for him, so see him put on a show, I'm sure, in tonight's game. But again, that matchup with Texas is going to be a lot of fun. Texas on Saturday will roll out Cooper Harris, Aiden Shreve, Corlin Stovall, and Cole Koninger is going to close things out for them. And you talk about, a guy that you're going to have be your closer there. The third-ranked shortstop in Texas was the number 7 ranked player overall. That guy can absolutely get it done on the mound as well. And see if we see the same thing here in New Jersey and New York. New Jersey's got a 3-2 lead now over New York in that one. Again, waiting on Dan Valerio from New Jersey to step into the booth here and join us, as they've been able to, again, to take a lead over New York in that bridge and tunnel battle there in the Northeast. And they've got RBIs in this one from J.C. Pacheco, Chase Bagley, and Alec Weingardner. Weingardner, really fascinating player on that team for sure. And this team's got a 3-2 lead, and here comes Dan Valerio sliding in here to the booth. Dan, appreciate you having some patience, man, joining us. Your squad leading now 3-2 in this matchup against New York. Thanks for the time, man. Thanks for coming by.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So Alex Weingardner got an RBI on his ledger now. Talk about guys who can absolutely get it done. 2021 junior feature gamer, second-ranked right-handed pitcher in New Jersey, 4th overall. How excited were you? We can go down a number of these guys, but I think Alex is a really fascinating player out of St. Augustine Prep. Tell me about what you've seen out of him and what you expect, the expectations were for him going into future games.
Yeah, so he really can do both things on the mound and at shortstop. He can play third base. He showcases really good arm strength. We saw that in his workout, 91 across the diamond. He has some bat-to-ball skills. He hit over 350 this year in high school. He's a middle-of-the-order guy for them, and we're going to get a chance to see him pitch tomorrow night.
You guys got Henry Pancoast on the mound right now, going off against New York. Tell me about the arm there, a guy out of Gloucester Catholic.
Yeah, so I think it's Daniel Bishop Eustace, right?
I'm sorry? Oh, you guys had number 11, right? That was number 19 that was out actually right on the mound for you guys?
Yeah, no. We had Chris Morano out there.
I believe we had the Morano. You guys had, when looking at the lineup for you guys, yeah, we had then Daniel Pascalonic.
Yeah, Pascal, yeah.
So he's going to be closing things out for you guys. So you had Christopher Morano out there.
Yeah,
now
Chris Morano.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So tell me about him, the guy we're going to see, and then with Daniel, we're going to see close things out.
Yeah. So Morano, really good breaking ball. It's a loose arm. Saw him all spring up to 90, and seems to be really throwing good strikes. So.
Yeah, we got Daniel on the mound now. I'm going to tell you, I said this last year with the black and white jerseys. It is so confusing. I really miss the days when it was like color schemes and you would walk past the field and you'd be like, oh, yeah, there's Indiana. They're wearing yellow. I mean, this is I love the look, and I know the players love the color concept. But it's somehow even more confusing than it was a year ago when we could still just set it across the front of it. So, yeah, this is it looks fantastic, but it's been a little bit of an ardent task trying to sort things out here when we're looking at these guys playing from here. Ethan Lee started things off for you guys, and I think Sean Duncan and I were having a bit of writing love letters to this guy when what we were seeing, just 90s with ease. Just the delivery was just so simple with him, and we saw the scouts just kind of building back there. This is a really special arm.
He is, and the composure, really. It was incredible. Coming off of yesterday, we were a little, I'd say, rattled, and it's a big environment for these guys. But Ethan gave us that you know what, we're here, we're settled in, and we're in a good ball game here. But he did a great job for us, and we saw that he led his high school team, Don Bosco Prep. They made a great run this year, and he was a reason why. It's 3 pitches, sometimes 4, and he can throw them in all 4 quadrants. Did a really nice job today.
Guy Lynham, this is his 4th consecutive year here at LakePoint. 2021 Junior Feature Games, 2022 Junior Feature Games, 2023 Feature Games. Now he's back in the one that truly matters. When you watch a guy being through part of this process as the scout, when you watch a guy that you kind of like put that faith in 3 years ago, and you think, I think this player is going to be there and he's going to progress the way you think he's going to by 24. What does that mean to watch?
It means a lot. I mean, it's awesome. The commitment from the family to believe in prep baseball, and to just, like you said, 4 consecutive years. I was blown away by Guy being around him in the dugout last year at the Future Games. Like, knew the tools, knew the skill set, but just the competitor and how focused he is. Those little intricate details of like timing the pitcher in between innings, backing people up, being a good teammate, all those things. I mean, that's why on August 1, I believe, he's going to field a lot of phone calls.
On the flip side of that, Alex Weingartner from St. Augustine Prep, 2021 Junior Feature Gamer. I think some guys, and not to put a damper on anybody's work ethic, but I think when some guys get that Junior Feature Games invite, they just anticipate, well, the Feature Games is going to come. But how do you guys kind of weigh that when you're looking at a guy that you kind of have looked to for Future Games, Junior Feature Games? How do you kind of gauge the process for them to decide whether or not they're going to ultimately get back here?
Yeah, I mean, just the evaluation through the spring, and then keeping tabs on them in the summer, checking in with their coaches, and like I said, just continuing to evaluate them and making sure that they're not staying stagnant. Because like I said, especially moving forward with the new rule and kids not being able to commit, it's going to be a really hard event to choose. There's going to be just so much talent on the board. So, like I said, I mean, he's just continued to progress. I mean, we're going to see a fastball tomorrow into the low, mid-90s.
I'd like to talk to Shooter Hunt about the cold weather state players, and how do you guys kind of, the evaluation process, you mentioned obviously how big the spring is, but how do you guys kind of, by the time we get to the end of the summer, what are you looking for in the progress of a player as opposed to, say, down here in Georgia when a guy can basically play all year long?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Luke Dickerson, right? I mean, I watched him all summer, and I thought he's going to be a really good college baseball player at Virginia, and yesterday he signed for $3.8 million, so just like you can never count a Northeast kid out. I think the progression it takes later, the spring is so important for that kid because he's not on the field as much. So like I said, I mean, I saw the evolution in front of my eyes. I mean, I saw about 70 at-bats from Luke this spring, and it was a totally different player from the summer. So, yeah, I mean, hats off to him, and he's going to play for the Nationals here soon, and, it's really awesome. But
Yeah, and it's always the added element was when a guy has a reputation, people don't want to throw to him. I remember talking to Tom Batista, was an area scout. He's actually the stepfather of Ryan Braun as well. But he told me when he got sent on a scouting expedition to go see Mike Trout, he said, I watched a guy for 4 games and no one pitched to him. So it's like it's difficult for some of these guys to even get an opportunity to show out in those moments. They really have to own the moments that they do get. And obviously Luke Dickerson, case in point, despite what the reputation becomes between what a pitcher's willing to give you, you take advantage of it. It's going to pay off regardless of how many games you're playing per year.
Definitely.
3-2 lead for New Jersey over New York, and that one is in the bottom of the 7th inning. Meanwhile, Minnesota and Midwest, which got started awfully late, is in the bottom of the 6th inning. I mean, everything looked at. We already got guys warming up between Nevada and Select, and they're still in the 6th inning. And I know we got games that are going to step off at 10 o'clock tonight. I saw some of the late games. Georgia's not taking the field till 10 o'clock in this one. Then they got to flip around and play it at 12:30 tomorrow. So I'm sure that's going to be some weary boys taking the field tomorrow. So the fields obviously here at LakePoint Sports have been redone. You've been here before. What was the reaction when you stepped out here and saw the kind of remade turf?
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, the surface is awesome, and you guys do a great job here. It really is great.
Yeah, I've heard some guys say they play a little bit more true. The bounces are a little different. Maybe not. It was obviously the heat level is a little different. They say with the lighter turf, it can be 10 to 15 degrees cooler in the hotter parts of the day. Luckily, it hasn't been too hot with you guys down here. It's a little more tame than it has been in past years. But Geo Surfaces that put in this new turf did a fantastic job with it, and everyone's been really happy with the way that it's played so far. So I've been hearing nothing but glowing reviews. Seeing that.
Yeah, it looks good, and all the videos too. It gives it a good background. It looks good.
Seeing the scouting population increase down there a little bit on the Minnesota Midwest game. It's always a bit of a who's who when you're walking around and seeing all those logos. And yeah, it's got to be. I would always imagine when you're a pitcher that steps onto the mound, and it's interesting to talk to guys who have been back for another year. They kind of understand it a little bit more, obviously. But for the guys taking that mound for the first time, I believe it was in the New Jersey-New York game, one of the first pitches the guy threw bounced. It's like you can understand, like that has to be. I'm sure the nerves, the adrenaline, all of it has to be absolutely popping.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, most we get at 8 to 10 evaluators. Seeing 40, 45 guys back there is a little different, but it's a really good experience.
What's your message to kids then when they come down here, especially a pitcher who's if the guy's not a position player as well, he's not going to go through the workouts, and he's going to get that one opportunity. How do you kind of tell guys to kind of compartmentalize and be you out there?
Yeah, I mean, Ethan did a great job today. He showed up early, and he was walking around, and I think that's really good. Like, you show up early, you take it in, and you just, you take a deep breath and just try to, slow it down and just trying to get used to the environment. So that'd be my advice.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a lot, and certainly, these guys, especially with the timing of everything, right? Like if we were doing this in, say, the beginning of June, I don't think guys would be as worked up about it as maybe they will because of the timing with the recruiting calendar.
Coming up. It's coming up soon. Which builds some suspense. I think it's a really good rule. Really good.
Yeah, and I think it obviously has helped the level of talent that we're seeing here. I mean, there's a number of guys, especially when you even start looking through your own roster, it's like you kind of have to think about it and say, okay, that could even be coming with us. He would be completely off the radar and unavailable to us. And I think there's a number of teams that would have the same issue, that they wouldn't be able to have certain players here because they would have already been committed a long time ago. So it's been to obviously the betterment of this event. I think it's only as time passes, it's just going to make it an even bigger opportunity for guys because they're going to see the value of coming here and knowing that this is where they're going to get their looks, and it's just going to elevate everything around it.
I agree. I mean, we have most of our top 10 here from the 26 class, which is really cool to say. And like you said, I mean, they would most definitely be committed if the old rule was in place.
Really great catcher that you guys got in Brandon Lipoff. You guys actually brought some great catchers regardless, but when you look at the numbers for Braden. It's 187 pop time, 79 velo. Then you match that with an exit velo of near 99.7. The bat speed. I talk to everybody about this because I love the bat speed metric. 85.2 is just kind of mind-boggling stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Blast Motion does a great job.
Yeah, and I think it's only been. I think when you see the MLB level adopt a metric, I think it just makes it. It almost like gives it more credence, right? For what you guys have been on board with some of this stuff for a really long time, but then when you see the major leagues adopt it and then start to utilize it, it just adds credence to it. And then these guys obviously can see where they match up against major league players.
I mean, if they think it's important, I mean, we might as well be implementing at the lower levels. So.
Got a 3-2 lead for New Jersey over New York. We're in the top of the 8th there.
That was Chase Bagley there, right? He's been playing great.
Yep. Yeah, you guys lost 14-8 to Massachusetts on Thursday. Still had 2 RBIs, though, from Aiden Ogando in that one. You mentioned the guys kind of being a little bit shell-shocked. What did you guys talk to him about today about kind of just, obviously these guys understand putting things behind you when things don't go your way, but to kind of have that kind of an opening here, what did you guys talk to them about?
Yeah, I mean, we just said, just take a deep breath. Like I said, I mean, we like to win. We'd like to get that gold chain, that player of the game for sure. But, I mean, we're just showcasing our tools. Like TJ Hunt had a great message. He was like, guys, okay, we didn't play our best, but, the evaluators are here to look at your tools.
Yeah.
And that's us. Like we had a great workout day, and then we did some really good things. So it was overall a good day, and I think we settled in nicely here. We're playing well. So.
Working on a 3-2 lead right now. Yeah. Tell me about your own path to prep baseball. How you kind of fell in with the company, and kind of how you've obviously been able to see things grow in your time.
Yeah, so I got done playing some professional baseball. I moved back home to New Jersey, and I just started coaching a travel team and doing hitting lessons, and that really took off. I started a hitting company, and then, as time went on, I just was looking for something more, and, I knew TJ was running the state, and I reached out to him. We had a meeting, and he just said, I just need you to help me cover high school games. So I started out as a scout, and I mean, I fell in love with it. I really just love going to the games. And in New Jersey, I felt like there was a need there. So it's just been, I mean, the growth and everything, it's been really cool. And I really enjoyed my time with prep.
What are those things that you are kind of, when you're evaluating a player, I think everybody kind of has their metrics that are maybe those most important things to them. What are those kind of baseline things for you when you start to kind of have an understanding of a player, when you see what's out there and you kind of start to evaluate and form your own opinions? What are those things that you kind of gravitate towards?
Yeah, I mean, first thing first is physicality. What do you look like? How's the body move? And then secondly is how they handle failure. Are they able to make adjustments pitch to pitch? I think that is so crucial. Do they stay? Is it a calm operation on the mound or in the box, or is it rushed? Those are really, my big marks there. And then, the general things of, velocity. How hard do you hit the ball? What's the bat to ball skills? More than ever, strikes aren't great, and guys are swinging and missing. So those stand out, I think, in the game as of late. So those are keys for me.
Got Cale Kluver now on the mound for Midwest, leading 4-2 over Minnesota in the top of the 7th there, and 3-2 lead for New Jersey over New York in this matchup in the 8th inning.
We got some two-strike hitting here. Hopefully.
Holds off, runs it to 1-2.
I think Alex D'Angelo, who's up now, has hit over 400 his freshman and sophomore year, so that's some good bat speed.
You guys batting in alphabetical order, or how you guys? You got Aiden Ogando actually is batting next. D'Angelo is over 2 today.
Yeah, outstanding.
He's going to duck out of the way of that one. Runners are both going to advance 90 feet, so New Jersey that much closer to another run there, padding this lead with 1 out in the top of the 8th. You guys obviously now able to also, along with the junior feature games participants, able to put some senior feature games players out there. Had to be an exciting process for you guys to reach out to some players who maybe felt like their time had passed in terms of this opportunity.
Definitely, you know, kind of a last chance and an opportunity to get seen. And, you know, thanks a lot to the college coaches that were down there and looking at those guys. You know, it was a really good turnout for Cory Pasquarelli yesterday. He had a great junior year, and, you know, he threw well, so we'll see what happens there. Hopefully he gets some phone calls.
Yeah, I know they're anticipating this could be the largest turnout for college coaches in feature games history. I believe it was north of 370 a year ago, and think they could obviously add to that when you think about guys coming from the Division II, III, NAIA, JUCO levels. You know, the opportunities that are going to be presented for some of these players. I think everybody wants that chance to play at the next level, and I think creating this kind of a platform in this division is at least going to provide a lot of guys with more eyes on them. And talking to some of the players ahead of it, I know they were really excited. Some guys just, you know, felt like last year, talking to Tyler Bennett playing for Team Deep South out of Tennessee, and he said, you know, I felt like I was really upset last year because I missed out on the feature game. So to get that call that this was happening, he was just really pumped about it. So I think it's cool to kind of watch this unfold. And I know a lot of guys said if you gave us a chance, we could put together an entire team of players just from our state, guys that have either been overlooked or have been late bloomers. So we'll see how that develops. And Gondo skies that one.
Too shallow.
So he's going to be the second out of the inning. It's going to be Ryan McCavey now, who's 0 for 2. Gondo is now 1 for 3 in the day.
Big, strong kid.
We got McCavey listed at 6'3", 225 pounds.
Hits the ball hard.
See if we can do that here, trying to, again, add another run from New Jersey as they lead 3-2 in the top of the 8th. Things are speeding up in Minnesota and Midwest. That one's in the 7th inning. Nevada and Select are going to be starting batting practice soon.
What time's that game scheduled to start?
I believe the next round of games is set for, as I pull up our schedule here. Next round of games is set for 7 o'clock. But Florida, Georgia has been pushed to 9:30 now, and at 10 o'clock. That one's going to be moving fields as some things had to be shifted around. There was some weather that kind of messed with things yesterday.
That should be a highly watched game.
Yeah, Georgia's next 2 games are going to be absolute must-see. They got Texas tomorrow, and you talk about. I've mentioned it multiple times during our broadcast today, but you talk about one game. If you had to put your money on one game having the most amount of eyeballs. I had Lash Henderson in here a couple days ago, and I was like, you understand what you're doing. It's a great throwdown. The second up is going to be safe. You understand what you're doing to coaches here. The #1 player in the class of 2027 comes and puts up a 6'5", 360, has 180 on one hand, 170 in the other on the grip strength, puts on a show in BP, and you tell everybody, I'll see you in a year. You know, absolute cruelty.
That is.
You know, he had some coaches coming up and dabbing him after his performance, but man, he's a monster. Just 15 years old. He's playing up this summer with USA Prime, and that was the talent. You had him and Chase Fuller and Landon Green, 3 of the top 8 players in the class of 2027, all playing a year up on that USA Prime team. So they put on a show here at LakePoint Sports a few times. It was a blast to watch.
That's good stuff.
Walk in a run, so New Jersey does get that additional run here on the top of the 8th inning. Maybe not as quite dramatic fashion as they wanted, but they'll take the extra run on the board.
Here's our #2 player in the class, Guy Lynham.
I mentioned Guy Lynham earlier. Gloucester Catholic, is that how you say it?
Yep, Gloucester Catholic.
Gloucester Catholic, 5'10", 175-pounder. We're 27th ranked shortstop in the nation, 91st overall. So Shooter Hunt being from New Jersey, when you guys are working guys into the national rankings, do you put a little bit more emphasis and kind of play the New Jersey card to see if you can get these guys pushed up a little bit higher?
No, you know, me and TJ, we turn in good evaluation. You know, we don't try to
you gotta play with. You got to pull the levers you can pull.
We don't try to leverage it. You know.
We got exit velos around 95.5 bat speed, 82.1 for Guy.
He's got a sweet lefty swing.
Instead of 5'10", again 174. Oh, he gets a hold of that one. Not deep enough though. He's been able to make the catch and make the out and end the inning, but 4-2 is the lead for New Jersey over New York. That one's going to go on to the bottom of the 8th. Meanwhile, Minnesota and Midwest in the top of the 7th. 4-2 is the lead for Midwest. See, Midwest got on the mound right now. It's going to be Cale Kluver. You guys' schedule as we look ahead towards tomorrow, you guys are going to be facing off against Connecticut. Meanwhile, New York is going to be playing, let's see who they've got listed for New York. Massachusetts. While Minnesota is going to be taking on Canada tomorrow, and Midwest will have Kentucky. Some of those Canadian players have been here for a while. We had some of them here during the 17U National Championship playing up, so some of those players are here.
Awesome. But I gotta go get some video of Dan.
What's that?
Can I go get some video?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're good to step out. So Dan Valerio, thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, we'll be right back from our studio. Dan, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Welcome back in studio. Andy Judkins from Prep Baseball Minnesota joining us. His team's trailing 4-2 to Midwest in the bottom of the 7th inning there. Told Rob Allison he had to take a seat directly behind home plate because you can't choose favorites when your two kids are going at it.
Yeah, it's we're talking about having some wagers about what we want to do here, but yeah, it's the battle of Rob, and we'll see what happens between Minnesota here late and Pascal's gang with Midwest and the Iowa and Nebraska boys.
You guys are coming off a 9-1 loss to Kentucky, but Noah Suma homered in that one, and that was a player that Rob Allison and I kind of had both circled. I talked him up, and then he said, well, that was the guy that I think is going to be like the breakout player for us in this event. Tell me about the 6', 199-pounder from Cherry High School.
Yeah, it's a super unique story. I shouldn't say story, but player. He's from way up by Duluth, which is 2.5 hours north of Minneapolis, and they have a family that is enriched in basketball. And I'm talking like the brother, the cousins, everybody. Cherry High School won the state title this winter. But one's committed to Minnesota, if not two, or one's at least being recruited. And he's the same thing. He starts with them, and they're like a dominant powerhouse. But he's just an athlete. He's out there playing ball, plays competitively with one of the smaller schools in the state, and then he plays with one of the MASH baseball club in the summer. And a lot of buzz has been caught about him everywhere he's been, and he had a really nice showcase day, and then obviously showed some strength and power on yesterday. And I think he had an infield single today, but he's kind of a second base, shortstop, third base, depending on your flavor and where you want to play him. But a really great player, good kid, and I think he has a bright future in front of him.
Joe Ackerman on the mound for you guys right now. What was it about this arm that you said I got to have him with me in Georgia?
Yeah, he's very unique. Again, another small school arm. What's interesting about Minnesota now, this is the first year we've had our own team, so some of these guys that come down are good high school baseball players, good high school pitchers that get an opportunity like this. But Joe, it's a 3-1 count, but typically a strike thrower. His ball runs, he moves, he competes on both sides of the plate. And again, another actually a teammate of Asuma. But yeah, you see there, 87 and not the biggest guy on the mound, but competes, and he'll get in there and he'll give you his best every time.
Meanwhile, Nevada and Select have somehow started with the other games from the previous window are still going on. So I know you guys were really delayed from the Indiana game that was happening before you guys, but a bit of a time jump there as that one's put into play as things get going in there. And meanwhile, New Jersey leads 4-2 over New York. That one's in the bottom of the 8th. Another arm, Hudson Ohm, 3 strikeouts in 1 inning yesterday. It's a really exciting player for you guys as well when you think about what he brings to the table. You got 2 Ohms on the team, and they're not related?
No, they're not related. One is one's from another small school in the southeast corner of the state, and the other one's out West Metro. They are not related, 2 different high schools, but Hudson is he was a dog yesterday. He really did a nice job. A couple coaches came over, asked a few questions. He didn't even throw a fastball on his first 3 pitches and got a strikeout. And then, showed it off with an upper 80s fastball. I think he's a power guy, projectable frame. I think, the best is still in front of him. Another guy that has ability and talent throughout the family. They have some college bloodlines. They were dad, mom, cousins. There's some relationship there where they all played. His older brother just committed to the University of St. Thomas, which is the other Division I school in the state, and he's a left-hander that was almost borderline Super 60 guy, lefty that's up to 93. So I think Hudson's got a really nice rest of the next 2 years for him up in Minnesota.
I believe we had a collision in the outfield there for Minnesota. There was like the guys ran into each other. I think there's always kind of that little element of it, right? Like these guys have never played together. It's like kind of that chemistry factor can always kind of come into play, even though you have some supreme talent on the field. You never kind of know how that piece of it's going to play out. How do you say Hudson's school? Zimbrota Mazeppa?
Zimbrota Mazeppa.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a fun one down there. Like I said, him and his brother were pretty good this year for their spring team, so it's fun to watch.
Danny Scheller was on the mound for you guys in this one. 2022 Junior Feature Gamers, #1 ranked outfielder in Minnesota, #3 overall. 60 time of 6.65, exit velos over 100. This kid seems pretty special.
Yeah, athlete, up and down, just like you said. Can play all 3 spots in the outfield. That's kind of what we've been doing. So you got a bunch of center fielders out there, so it doesn't surprise me that they're all trying to go and track down the ball. But yeah, Danny had a really nice showcase day. Danny's just been playing really good baseball ever since he's come on with us or done events with us. And junior futures guy, great kid, great parents. But yeah, I think he's upper 80s fastball too on the mound. So depending on what caught people's eye, I think another guy that's going to be pretty special up there for us.
Nice throwdown, by the way, to end things and get out of the inning as we move on to the top of the 8th. Again, Midwest leading 4-2 over Minnesota. New Jersey's got a 4-2 lead over New York, and we're scoreless in the top of the first inning in Nevada and Select. So let's talk about your own path. You were at Butler for a couple years in Southern Illinois, Central Arizona, Minnesota State. Tell me about the path from Butler to being up in Minnesota and being a part of prep baseball.
Yeah, it was, to even go back a little bit further, it was coached high school baseball, not really knowing what you wanted to do, and went down to Minnesota State and was a graduate assistant, got my master's, coached in the Northwoods League, which is the big collegiate league up there in the summer, and got approached by those guys, and then worked with a guy in the Northwoods League that said, come on down to Central Arizona. My first year, we go national runners up and losing the national title game out in Grand Junction, and ended up with a buddy of mine at Southern Illinois, and then ended up with Wisconsin. Steve Farley's from Wisconsin. Ended up at Butler, and then decided to make the trek back home. My wife's from there. We're originally from there, so kind of made some trips around the sun, and here we are back in Minnesota in the great state of 10,000 lakes.
Got Cale Kluver back on the mound for Team Midwest. Moving on to the top of the 8th inning, see if he can close this thing out. While New Jersey leads 4-3 over New York. You see Select in Nevada in the top right corner. When you guys were putting together your first team for Minnesota, what was that process like? Because I know before we had Team Midwest and you guys were getting some players into that. Was it a luxury? Was it almost like, oh man, how did you kind of approach this?
It was exactly that, oh man. It was, but no, it was a lot of fun. There's really good baseball up by us, and there's really good athletes. Obviously we have the winters where we're stuck inside for however long, so some of these guys really don't get going until, I like to say May, because of the, when it finally does warm up. They play a spring season in April, but May and into June, July, and now here we are. But no, I mean, so there's good athletes, there's good baseball players, there's a lot of fun, and I think the best thing about the whole situation is what's being provided for Minnesota players is more opportunity. And I think between the past few years and this year, you're talking maybe 8, 9 at best get on that Team Midwest. Now we're taking 25 guys down here that can kind of showcase and do and show what they're capable of, and then the senior, the 17U, and there's 9 kids on that team, so 35 kids just in those 2 age groups are down here, and it's a special thing, and I think they're eye-opening for some coaches, and it's great to see, and they're hopefully fulfilling some dreams for them.
I'll tell you what, though, selfishly, what was not great to see, because you had the new division and so many more coaches coming to this, was trying to find a parking spot. If you're not here first thing in the morning, you are literally like, I was here at 9:15 this morning, and even at 9:15, it was not happening.
Yeah, we got pushed back our game. We didn't even end until 11:15 last night, and then they put Rob's other team up on the other quad. And we were parked over by the Champions Center. That's how far away we had to park yesterday. But yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of people here. It's a lot of fun. The rain has held off, knock on wood, and it's been a lot of fun down here.
Well, if you'd like to, I can get you to sign the petition for us to build 4 more fields. That way we can have some additional parking, and I'm sure we could add an entirely another division to these things. I know there had to be some 13s that watched that kind of be taken away to go with the 17s instead. Kind of thought, hey man, I'd love to be coming to that as well. So I think obviously those guys will get their turn a little bit later on, but I know there was kind of some reconfiguring of thoughts there as things were reworked. But I think, talking to this with everybody, I think it's a really important opportunity, because a lot of these kids just develop differently.
Yep.
They develop differently physically as players. And prep baseball, giving them a chance to be seen a little bit later, is a truly meaningful thing.
Yeah, and that basically exactly what you said is the majority of Minnesota kids. Like there's 2 kids, arms, that are on the upper Midwest team in the 17U stuff, and they're probably just short of making the future games team last year because of the 3 states combined, and both of them up low 90s, right-handed pitchers, did well for themselves. So exactly what you said is there's kind of a late process. It's not for everybody, but sort of a late process when it comes to Minnesota kids, and I think people are seeing that, and they're coming up there and they're grabbing players.
We've had New Jersey tie things up, so 4-4 is the score there in the bottom of the 8th inning. So they can't change that, or we might end up with a tie ball game. Looks like we're going to. So There you go. New Jersey and New York are going to share a bit of a wah-wah kind of handshake there, as they maybe thought they were going to get out of it. New York with a 4-2 win, but instead it's going to be a 4-4 ball game. And we're at 4-2 meanwhile here between Midwest and Minnesota. And with Sky back foul.
Yeah, Owen through the first inning. He's really been stroking the ball really well. He just hasn't had a hit to show for it, but everything he's been doing has been barreled, and he's threw a nice first inning, so hopefully he gets on here and maybe we can tie 2 or if not take the lead.
Yeah, this is Owen Stray from Chaska, 6'2", 177-pounder.
Real nice player. He's I think he can stay on the left side of the infield, shortstop, third base, but really nice player for a really nice school. Comes from a enriched, there's one, there you go. That's another barrel, hopefully.
91-9 off the bat.
Did
not going to catch up with
it must have landed or something, because now we're wheeling them to score.
There you go. Here comes a third run for Minnesota, 4-3.
There we go. So yeah, just like I talked,
second.
He finally got his hit. You know, he's been barreling everything. So 92 exit speed just about, and really nice player for a nice tradition high school baseball program he plays for. So yeah, he's got 2 more years to go. So
Owen Stray going to be followed by Davis Fleming, and then we're back to Danny Scheller if it continues.
Fleming, Cretin-Derham Hall, which is Joe Maurer, and obviously just got inducted in the Hall of Fame. So another really enriched high school baseball program and everything that Joe Maurer did for the Twins in the state of Minnesota and stuff like that. So yeah, Davis started at first base for them this year, which is one of the better conferences, better high schools in that conference that he plays for. So pretty special deal there. They're also part of baseball day for us, so it's fun to watch Davis this spring.
Also got Ryan Christensen, really interesting player from Apple Valley High School. He was here a couple years ago for junior feature games. Tell me about, from your perspective, watching the guy progress from junior feature games to feature games. Does it feel, like you guys put your faith in somebody and then watch them come through?
Yeah, our junior future guy does a great job, Abe Welkley, and you get kids like Ryan. Davis was also a junior futures. Kieran Leatherman, who had a walk there and then stole second.
Patrick Carlin.
Carlin was another one, and Danny Scheller was another one. And you get these kids that, I mean, they're kids, and then they start turning to young men 2 years later, right? And then we see them down here, and 2 years ago they might be 80 exit velos and throwing 80 from the outfield, and a guy like Danny's hitting 100 and off the bat and throwing 90 in the outfield. But Ryan's the same thing, like really long, lean type guy. Now he's put on some weight, and now he's upper 80s fastball, and another guy who just continues to develop and progress.
So see Mike Salucci up there hanging out the bling for New York and New Jersey, giving the player of the game. What'd you think when you saw the chain?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's something unique, and it seems like baseball's in a way where it's getting flashier and flashier. So
well, wait till the Junior Feature Games Platinum Championship. Have you seen this yet?
I think I saw it somewhere.
Yeah,
but
we're gonna have a championship belt that's gonna be handed out during and we're gonna have the broadcast of that for you on Sunday. That game's gonna be on at 3:15. Oakley also coming through. Every player on that Platinum Championship team is gonna walk away with Oakleys.
Yeah.
So man. When guys see this stuff, and then they get asked to come to the feature games next year, I don't think no one's going to say no.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's fun, and we've actually had a really good run. Like I said, Abe does a great job with the junior future stuff. We've had a really good run with players coming down here and doing well and competing for Minnesota. But right now we're competing too. We got second and third, and Scheller's up, what we talked about, and maybe
90
we could take
90 off the bat.
Maybe we could take the lead here. See what happens.
And talk about legacy players that are part of the junior feature games this year. Jason Kidd's got a son playing for Texas. Jenny Finch has a son that's playing as well. So there's a number of notable names here across campus. Also, Team Illinois saw Jim Tomey's sons playing for them.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, that's been one of those things that you obviously walk around and hear, hey, did you see Jason Kidd's sons here and this and Jenny Finch and all that other stuff. So.
Scheller goes down on strike, so there's now one down. So we'll go from Scheller to Matthew Birkland.
Yeah, ball player. Right here is a ball player. This is your typical Minnesota kid that plays in a high-profile high school. He's got 2 older brothers playing college baseball. Great family, great kid, great great baseball player.
So you've said something a couple times. A typical Minnesota kid. When I talked to Jeff Scholzen up in Utah, he's talking about the typical Utah player. You know, everyone's talking about the typical guy, you know, from kind of their neck of the woods. I mean, Dan Jurek talks about the typical Pacific Northwest player. What does that mean to you when someone's saying a typical Minnesota player?
Well, we'll take Matthew, for instance. Like, he plays on a high school baseball team that was ranked 1 all year. I think they lost their first game in state, and he was their starting catcher. And then their shortstop went down with an injury, and they ran him out to short, and he didn't miss a beat. And the team didn't miss a beat with him running out there. And then he played third, and he gets in the box and he competes. And there's a lot of them like that up there, and everywhere that that was a good pitch. Everywhere that or any time I've seen him play, and like I said, his older brothers, all he does is he just plays hard, he hits, he helps the team whatever way it's possible, and there's a lot of kids up there that do that, and I think
goes down on strikes,
that was
man.
a tough one.
Yeah, caught him looking on the outside.
But I think, well, here's a sumo we just talked about earlier, but and I think there's a lot that up there that can help college baseball programs, and you know, there's a bunch of different things that a lot of them can bring to the table, and it's a lot of fun to watch them grow and you know, move on to go play.
Almost feels like the Swiss Army knife kind of kid is a big piece of the puzzle for Minnesota.
Yeah, it's they got, like I said, all of our outfielders, like we didn't bring down a left fielder or right fielder. They're all center fielders. We brought a bunch of shortstops down that can play multiple positions, and they get moved around, and you know, they can do different things at different times, and a lot of them can run really well, and some can throw really well, and you know, so try and bring that different dynamic and different tools that they all can bring to help showcase their stuff.
Cale Kluver's got Asuma down to his last strike.
Yeah, we'll see if we can put together an AB here.
Comes with the 0-2. Watches it right down the middle, and that's going to do it.
There
so,
it was.
yeah,
They had a
Midwest 4-3 winners over Minnesota. So, I don't know what was the bet? What do you have to pay up?
We
now?
didn't really come up with one, but I'm sure I'll get some grief about it. But you know, like I said, it's fun, good competitive stuff. It's a lot of fun watching some of these guys down here do what they do, and you know, it's been a good 3 days so far, and hopefully we finish strong tomorrow.
So it looks like we're going to roll out there and give the guys another chance to hit here.
Yeah, we're playing 8, so Joe's going to throw a second one here and give Midwest some more ABs.
So let's see who they're going to bring to the plate here. See who the last out for them would have been. We were back to Cordell Clicking-Beard.
Yeah. Yeah, he started the game.
Yep.
Yeah, he was good. He was real good. So
he'd already taken the award for the best name of the 2024 Future Games.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Oh, nice breaking ball from Ackerman.
Yeah. The crazy thing that I don't think many people know, unless you're kind of ingrained in the Iowa baseball community, but Rob misses out on a handful of guys because the state tournament is in a similar weekend.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's some guys playing the state tournament that couldn't make it down here, and his team would, you know, have that many more players and that much more talent. And
I believe he said Gavin DeJesus just got here yesterday.
Yeah.
Because his team got knocked out in the semifinals, and he was able to make it up here, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, you know, we talk about the metrics on a guy like that. 6'5", 360, exit velo's 93, bat speed is 79.1. What would that have been like for somebody to watch in the showcase environment here, you know, to have those kind of numbers? But then he says, gets into the game, and he's flashing that speed, beating out infield singles and whatnot. So speed thrills no matter what the platform. So he was obviously taking advantage when he could.
Yeah, it's like they say, it's the one thing you can't teach.
That's
so
right.
You can't teach speed, but if you can run and you can move around, you can help somebody.
Let's see what Ackerman's got in store as he goes back out for another inning. I like the secondary.
Yeah, it's good stuff. He throws strikes. He's around the zone. You know, like I said, you got multi-pitch guy that competes and shows his stuff. You know, works out of the stretch here. You throw back to back there, you can land them, and like I said, he'll be a nice player for somebody.
See what he's got in store here, an 0-2 count. If he goes fastball here, believe he does. Not gonna miss high.
The Patrick that's actually catching him, they play on their same club team together, so it was one of those things where he actually saw the pitching lineup today, or the rotation, and said, "Hey, can I catch Joe?" So
that's great.
Obviously, he probably knows what's in his arsenal, and it looks like they got a fly out there, so it looks like he's got some good chemistry between the two of them, which obviously helps a guy like Joe and be able to show his stuff and be comfortable with who he's throwing to.
Yeah, unfortunately, our camera did not switch over, and a lot is asked. I have a lot of conversations with catchers. A lot is asked of them in this environment, because you have pitchers who, this is my only chance. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to light up this radar gun, and these guys just want to go out there and fire, and to be able to be, one, to be ready for it, and then to do it with somebody you don't know. I mean, this is obviously a rare occasion where they do. It's got to be daunting.
Yeah, it's got, it's tough, because you go spring, summer, and you're catching the same guys, and you get down here and might catch some with a little more velo or better stuff or higher spin, or it might run more or cut more. And yeah, it's tough for a catcher, that's for sure. And then you add in, depending on what time the game is, you add in the heat and the humidity, and you just never know. So but between him and Birkeland and Miras, they've done a really nice job. So
well, meanwhile, in this Nevada game up here in the top right corner, Neelan Halsey from Georgia was actually added to the Nevada roster. So he's a catcher. You think about, not even like catching guys who you don't even know until a couple minutes before that. A lot of these times, at least within the same state, it's a nice swing and a miss with a strikeout there in that Nevada Select game. Got by a guy that you don't even have any inclination of who this human being is when you go out there to join the team. That's got to be daunting.
Yeah, we Ryan Hajelming, who threw the middle innings for us, or I think the third and fourth, we had a dropout because of injury, and called him on Monday morning. He said, "I'm on my way." So,
I wonder why he wasn't on your roster, because I was looking at the pitching rotation and I saw Hajelming on there, and I could not find his name anywhere on any of the rosters. So that's got to be, talk about coming out of the bullpen. I mean, to be able to do it like that, to travel across states and be a part of the feature games. Nice job for him then, stepping up and showing out.
Yeah, super unique. Another small town kid. Like I said, we had him in a showcase. We did our state games early. He was like 84, 86, maybe touching 87. I don't think he threw a pitch under 85, 86. I mean, he was up to 89. So I think it was a good day for Ryan, and I'm glad he came, and I'm glad it worked out and got that opportunity. So it was a lot of fun to see.
4-3 Midwest over Minnesota. Still playing the bottom of the 8th inning as Joe Ackerman's out there for another inning of work. They got 2-0 count, 1 out in the inning. Virginia and South Carolina getting warmed up in the top left corners. We continue on our Prep Baseball Feature Games watch parties. Nevada's got a 2-0 lead over Select up in the top right corner. That Select team has a number of players from Hawaii on it. Talked to some of them this morning. You talk about being able to show some mettle in what you do during the summertime. These players are gone from home for 5 weeks, traveling all over the United States. They start off in California, they go to Georgia, they go to Texas, they go to Florida, playing in all these tournaments, and basically having some parents and coaches be chaperones for these kids as they try to chase their baseball dreams. It's absolutely fascinating what these kids from Hawaii have to do, and there's really 14 of them across the different teams here during the feature games.
Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, it's a lot of these kids don't, the sacrifice, like you said, the parents make, and the obviously they enjoy watching their kids play, but being able to move around. But it's a big commitment for these kids, and baseball is an awesome game and a lot of fun, and it's super fun to watch. So it's probably a ton of travel for Hawaii to be hopping on a flight basically everywhere.
Yeah, and they said there's trips in buses, trips in rental cars, and just staying in different places too, going from hotel to hotel, Airbnbs, trying to figure out, how to get these kids to eat healthy. They're going to hotel gyms. He said it's not like they're talking with their coaches. He says it's not like we're hitting up LA Fitnesses, or we're going to, picking up dumbbells in a hotel gym, just trying to get these kids moving, and then trying to go anywhere they can to get on a practice field.
Sure.
It's got to be. I just can't imagine. It definitely feels like a documentary waiting to happen.
Yeah, trying to get your work in while also traveling and making time for everything else. That's tough. And if they can do it, I applaud them, because it's even some of these Minnesota kids. They leave on Tuesdays and don't come back till Sunday nights, or they'll leave on Wednesday, Thursday, and don't come back home till a Monday or Tuesday, depending on how deep they go into a tournament. So. Yeah, it's tough on these guys, but they love it and they do it, and you know, they're getting better because of it.
And we get a number of their teams down here for the national championships. I believe the Minnesota Blizzard, is that the?
Yep.
We always have them down here for the 17U national championship. So those guys get down here. Some of them able to team win a couple years ago out of Minnesota, winning the 17U national championship.
Yeah, I believe that was the Minnesota Icemen.
That's right. Yep.
Yep. They do a really nice job.
Oh man, that was nasty from Ackerman.
Yeah, that was a good pitch. So hopefully he can ground ball or make a pitch himself here and get him out of it. But yeah, the Iceman, great program. I'm not sure if we have, I can't remember off the top of my head if we have one from the program on this team, but a few years ago we did. And yeah, those guys up there do a really nice job. There you go, you got the strikeout. So
all right,
two
so
outs.
2 down for Ackerman here, down to the final out in this Midwest 4-3 win over Minnesota, playing out the entirety of the game here, 8 innings.
This is cool.
Yeah, we're trying to make our own little version of NFL Red Zone. During workout day, we had all 4 were fields, and we had a little spot in the middle. So typically in the past, we've just done one game, but we thought, what's the point when we had the ability to show a bunch of games and give people a look at this environment? And I think that's kind of, you know, you can look at one game and see a crowd of scouts behind them, but you look at 3 games and you see a crowd of scouts behind them, and I think it really, you know, speaks to the volume and how important this event is for everybody involved. Well, Midwest takes it 4-3 over Minnesota. Andy Lynn, I truly appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, enjoy your time here at LakePoint Sports. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to close out the show and set things up for Saturday's version of our Future Games Watch Party.
First one I picked up, I just liked it the best. And like I said, I tried a lot of different companies, a lot of different models, and I fell in love with Old Hickory for sure.
Welcome back to our Future Games Watch Party, trying to take center stage here after Andy Junkins from Prep Baseball Minnesota took off. I hope you enjoyed our coverage today. Again, we've had some really great games, had some really great guests stop by, and I know Brandon Geyer and his work with the Major League Mindset. If you don't get a chance to check out that interview, it will be available on all of our social channels in just a little bit, so make sure you check that out and head on over to BrandonGeyer.com to check out the work that he does. We will be back tomorrow with another round of our Future Games Watch Party, so make sure you check that out as we bring up our menu for the games that you will see during our 12:30 window of coverage tomorrow. We will have that highly anticipated Texas-Georgia matchup along with Wisconsin, Kansas, and New York, Massachusetts. And then finally on Sunday at 3:15, we have the Junior Future Games Championship. You've heard me talk about it a little bit, that Platinum Division. Going to be absolutely must watch because, man, you're going to see a team win a championship belt. You're going to see Oakley sunglasses go to that championship winning team. So it's going to be a lot of surprises, a lot of fun, and some kids absolutely showing out for some hardware as we put a bow on the 2024 Prep Baseball Future Game. So until tomorrow, this is Cory McCartney saying thanks for stopping by and appreciate the work in the back of producer Jack McCartney and all of our guests today. So Cory McCartney signing off, and we will see you soon from LakePoint Sports.